So before we get started, I am getting everything set up and ready to go. I had some issues, kind of set me back a little bit. I had some issues, but all of that is getting straightened out now. So let me come in here. And get this all straight, make sure everything's right, go from there. Okay, so there we go. Test the audio. Okay, so there we go. Sounds good on YouTube. I'm doing YouTube separate from the rest of them. I'm doing it on my other channel too that I have on YouTube for Roger Hansen. It's not the one that I use for the other ones. So let me go ahead and get everything set up, start the stream. I contacted Naroki. He said that everything is up and ready, or will be up and ready to go here in a minute. So let me make sure that everything is good to go. Plus, I'm finishing up on some other things too that I need to do, which is important. So got to request to join on Naroki's channel. Got that taken care of. Test the audio. Sounds good on Kick. See what it sounds like on D-Live. Got to request to join on. Okay, so we have it ready for D-Live 2. Hold on a minute. Got a phone call from Naroki. Hello? Oops. He must have tried to call me on the wrong thing. Give it a moment. We will have this set up. From everything I see so far, everything seems to be going good. Let me go and check with Twitch. Make sure everything sounds good there. And after that, I will check Kick. Well, I already did. I just checked Kick a second ago. So looks like everything has been checked. All right. So yeah, we should have things up and running here in a second. Okay, tried to call me. I don't know what happened there. The phone call just kind of went blank.
Okay, just a few more seconds.
Okay. I got a little confused.
And here we go. Hold on, I need to get some water in me.
Okay, so yeah, I kind of got a little confused. I heard that phone call coming through, so I thought something was up. So
I just wanted to let you know that that was really close. Just before we start, I told you, I did get the different employer this week.
Mm-hmm.
I got one more week with these assholes, and I was hoping that they would be stupid enough to only give me 3 shifts, and that's exactly what they did. So what can I tell you, man? They just basically handed me the perfect excuse to basically quit and have justification for it.
There you go.
So yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm just gonna say, yeah, I'm done. You're not even getting a week. I'm done. Like the shifts I got at that one spot. Where the hell is it? Where am I gonna be working here?
I actually did that when I quit working at Denny's a long time ago. They were cutting people's hours and hiring shitloads of people.
Yep. So yeah, and no. Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, I have told them repeatedly. You want to keep your guards, you want to keep your staff,
Mm-hmm.
you have to give them regular hours. I even offered them. There's a way of, like, what you do is for every 12-hour site, what you have is you get 2 guards, and you have one, and you do a 4 on 3 off, 3 on 4 off. That way each guard at one site, 2 guards at one site, each get 84 hours. Nobody fucking complains. Everybody knows their sites, right?
Yeah.
And nobody's worried about it. And you have at least 2 guards at every site that are getting full-time hours, and you have a couple of floaters, right? Do you think they would do that? Nope. Nope. They keep fucking, like, she keeps spreading hours. And of course, what also happened this week is one of the sites I'm working at, there's a key that we're supposed to get at the start of the shift. And I was like, well, mobile is going to come by and drop them off at every shift. And I'm like, looking at them, and it's like talking to them, and like going, you're like, mobile is not necessarily always going to be available to do that, because I've worked mobile, right? Like, mobile does not necessarily have the time to do that. They don't necessarily have the time to come and drop them off or pick them up, right?
Yeah.
Sure enough, the next 2 shifts, I didn't get the key because they forgot. And then yesterday I was driving home on my way to my home group, and I get a call from the scheduler asking me if I had the key, and I go, well, no, I haven't had the key for the last 2 shifts, right? Like, I haven't even been given the key, right? And I had told them what's going to happen is either A, you're going to give it to a guard and that guard's going to forget, or B, mobile's not going to have time to go over and pick it up, or C, the guard, because of the way you've been treating, I didn't say this to them, but the way you've been treating your fucking staff, this guard is not going to give a shit, and he's just going to take the fucking key home with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure enough, they have a problem with the key now, and it's like, yeah, not my fault. And it won't be my fault. My last shift with them is Friday night into Saturday morning, and then that's it. And then I start with orientation on the new job come Monday. And I basically have to go out because basically I'm getting enough hours on this week that I'll have my rent at the very least. I'm going to have my rent covered,
Mm-hmm.
although I may have to make a payment arrangement with the landlord again. But
That shit would that shit would piss me off.
that's it. I'm done with them. No, that's it. I got hired by somebody else this week, so yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. Hold on a second here. I don't know what the hell it is, but I'm really sweaty in this. I put a hoodie. I put a loose fitting hoodie on, and I'm really fucking sweaty in it for whatever reason. I gotta put on something a little bit.
You got all worked up and riled because you was talking about your job. Is what it was. You wild man.
Okay, I'm gonna get. There we go. That's a little bit looser fitting, and it's a little bit cooler. All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay.
Going live.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Kick, Twitch. By the way, how do you save the show on Twitch? I can't find the show plays on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not saving on Twitch.
Well, you can save it, but you have to go into the settings and do it. And to be honest with you, it's really not worth it. I stopped saving on mine from Twitch because like now they only allow you to store it for like 2 weeks, and then they have like a certain amount, like 400 gigabytes worth of memory or some shit like that.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow about it because I gotta
Mhm.
go. I gotta put the deposit down to get the car repaired tomorrow, and then I'll give you a call like in the afternoon or something.
Okay.
But yeah, all right. Well, V's got the invite. If he wants to jump on, he can. All right, I'm going live right now.
All right.
All right, I'm going live right now.
Where you at, B?
Live
B?
right now. What
Where
the
you
hell is
at?
going on here? It won't let me go live.
Go and check, make sure everything in your information is straight. Your name, the name of your show. That was the last thing that you had an issue with.
Okay, hold.
Make sure your name is fully spelled out, like Red Pill Nation Hangout. Oh shit, he went quiet.
Okay, come on. Here we go.
Okay, is it working?
Yep, it's good, and now it's working.
Okay. Don't do that. You make me nervous when you go quiet like that.
Yeah, I know I have that effect on people. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Red Pill Nation Hangout number 453. With me tonight is Roger Hansen, who is still just as crazy as I am. He just hides it better. You had a show earlier today too, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually had two of them. Well, I mean, I simulcast one and then I had mine, but that one was about weird science. So
Ah,
that
okay. Well, in the low bar,
one
I'm
was
just going to
about
get this
weird
out of the way right
science.
away.
So
I do actually have Galactic Fire's product line there. Okay. Well, in the low bar, it's down below Texas Democrats. It's the tastygalacticfire.com store. Feel free to have a look. I hope everybody's having a good time. Welcome to the three whole people on Rumble that are currently listening. I hope you're enjoying yourselves so far for the sum total of 1 minute and 5 seconds that I've been on so far. With me tonight is Roger Hansen. So, Roger, introduce yourself.
hello, I am Roger Hansen.
Okay. Hold on a second here.
You can find me on stuff.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
Oh,
Banner.
can I say one thing too?
Yes.
Actually,
Go ahead. Is it something about liking boobs, or is it something just normal?
no, this is kind of normal. It has to do with B and TLB talk. Okay, I went and I joined that platform, and I've been putting this show's restreams or simulcasts on there. And if anybody is on that actual platform, go in there and check it out.
Yeah, go ahead, check it out, folks. I have a link to my show on that platform as well. So yeah, as you can clearly see below, Patreon is the Red Pill Nation. I'm obviously gonna have to like start putting. Now that certain issues in my life are starting to clear up, I might actually have time. There are two shows that I'm gonna like. I will be picking back up the Naroki 5 live stream here at some point in the next couple of weeks. Mostly because I will now once again have the time to do it. There will be two, and I will now also finally have time to do the P. Diddy special that V had been wanting to do since Christ was a cowboy. Those will be coming up some point in the next 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm also going to have to get an interview with either Sonia or that other one. set something up and go on her show, because that's something else that's been like lingering there in the background for like the longest time that I haven't had a chance to address since I left the old job. Other site news: my Rumble account is now the same size as my BitChute account. So yeah, and they're both at 200. Although with the Rumble account, it's 151. I think 149 and 51, and BitChute is at 200. So it's yep. There's a very slim possibility that I might pass 900 before the end of August, although I doubt it. Basically, I am on the race to try to get to 1,000 subs combined before the end of the year. So please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Yep. Other places that I'm at, well, besides Rumble and BitChute, which are now one and 1A, Odyssey, MGTOW TV, Bradion, and YouTube, which, by the way, somehow is now up to like even though I don't promote anything on YouTube at all, I'm up to like 71 or 72 subs on there now.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I swear, I'm not promoting anything or doing anything to hype that channel up at all. It just keeps quietly growing in the background. So the topics tonight are as follows, and we have 7 of them. And we got some. We got actually. Yeah, I might have to move 1 and 6 together here. In fact, I may move 1 and 6 together because they kind of like. Well, they're not. They're both Canada content, but they came up at different times. Topic number 1: Mark Carney botches negotiations with Trump. New tariffs levied. Topic number 2: Howard Stern is being canceled. Topic number 3: Disney takes the knee and settles with Gina Carano. Topic number 4, which is the manosphere part of the show tonight: grifter conservative women give themselves away over Sarah Stock's wedding ring photo. Topic number 5, Trump administration lowering the hammers on politically motivated payment providers. Topic number 6, you cannot go hiking in New Brunswick due to wildfires. And topic number 7, Texas Democrats facing heat for another political protest. Yeah, so I am not sure. Well, you know what? Sometimes you just got to roll with it here. I'll just keep them at 1 and 6. I don't really feel like having to reorganize everything at this point. So, without any, one little thing before we get started tonight, and this is something that I found really interesting because we did cover this on the show last week. Now, I can't remember the name of the shooter, the one who allegedly targeted the NFL headquarters and was somehow, quote unquote, too dumb to know which floor that the NFL headquarters was on. And he ended up coming out at a place called Blackstone. Now, I thought I immediately started thinking about BlackRock. I immediately started thinking about BlackRock, and then I was on Instagram here 2 days ago, and somebody pointed out that this particular office is a subsidiary of BlackRock, and this is something that I think is really, really curious. This particular subsidiary of BlackRock is a real estate subsidiary that goes around buying houses, particularly in the Sun Belt and the Deep South, buying houses and then renting them out as properties and not ever selling them.
Yep.
Which includes Las Vegas, where this guy lives. So when you're looking at the mainstream content about this, all of a sudden, right, like everybody's trying to figure out what this guy's motivation was, that maybe he had brain damage for whatever, or maybe a friend of his had brain damage. You have to stop and consider that maybe this particular individual didn't have brain damage, because one of the victims that got killed, and this is one hell of a coincidence when you consider that there was very few people. There was only like 4 or 5 people that got killed by this person. That one of the people that got killed just happened to be the president and the CEO and the chief architect of what Blackstone had been doing around its real estate holdings. And the mainstream media has been portraying this as a random employee, when in fact you have to potentially consider the fact that maybe this Blackstone employee was Luigi Mangione. And I'm not saying that to praise Luigi Mangione, because Luigi Mangione was an entitled fucking incel. But that's just one of those little things that just kind of makes you want to go, And that is the update on that story. If Roger has anything more to update on that story, then we will. Then we'll get
Yeah.
into the main topic.
This is actually pretty interesting because I've been reading some of the information here. If you want me to, I can read it out to you.
Go ahead.
Blackstone Inc. is an American alternative investment management company based in New York. It was founded in 1985 as a mergers and acquisitions firm by Peter Peterson and Steven Schwartzman, who had previously worked together, get this, at Lehman Brothers. Blackstone's private equity business has been one of the largest investors in leveraged buyouts in the last 3 decades, while its real estate business is actively acquiring commercial real estate across the globe. Blackstone is also active in credit infrastructure, hedge funds, secondaries, growth equity, and insurance solutions. As of 2024, Blackstone has more than $1 trillion in total assets under management, making it the world's largest alternative investment firm. And Lehman Brothers, if everybody remembers correctly, was the company that was formerly involved in the real estate collapse that caused the problems in the early 2000s when everybody talks about Enron. That's what they're talking about. And Lehman Brothers was the company that was involved in that. So that's all I got to say. It stuck out to me whenever I read this. That's crazy. These are not good people.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I think this is maybe not a coincidence. The moment we started talking about that, I started having technical difficulties.
You're getting blocked out. Those Canadian government officials are saying this is it. This is the end of it. We're not tolerating that stuff in the good old country of Canada.
Kanakistan, yeah.
Kanakistan.
Yep. So not overly surprised because they keep trying to say this was just a quote unquote BlackRock employee, and it's like she wasn't a BlackRock employee.
It's
right. She wasn't just a random BlackRock employee. She was the BlackRock employee, and she was the one that was specifically of the one around Blackstone was centered around their real estate holdings, like that. And that's a whole different angle. Has been the mainstream, and they want to make this about the NFL. I think they're trying to use this fact that this guy was a former football player with some mental issues as a distraction away from the fact that people again, I am surprised that somebody hasn't gone out, stormed the BlackRock building in New York at some point or wherever their headquarters are, or tried to or tried to do something rather nasty to BlackRock yet, or to the Pritzkers or whatever, because of the way they've been acting. Just kind of, it's like somebody. I'm amazed at somebody. You're probably gonna start seeing a lot of these CEOs starting to get killed off, I think. at some point, because it's like, yeah, like you're seeing this more and more frequently now. And it's not a strange coincidence that both of these executives that got murdered, one was in the medical field. One of them was the CEO of a medical insurance company, which has got some very, very skivvy dealings. And the other one, this one wasn't, well, she wasn't the CEO. She was the head of, she was the one that was directly involved with the buying and renting out of and taking all of these houses, particularly in the deep south and the Sun Belt, and turning them into rental properties.
Yep.
Coincidence? Yeah, I don't think so. But anyway,
I just found
with that
out
aside,
here. I just found out here too. Schwartzman at Blackstone in 1987. He hold up, no, Peterson and Schwartzman both were managing directors at Lehman Brothers back in 1987, but left in 1992 to join the Clinton administration as Deputy Treasury Secretary, and later founded Adversary Investment Bank, Evercore Partners in 1995. So these people are even hooked up with Hillary Clinton back when she was a part of the Deputy Treasury Secretary.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Anyway, that is food for thought before we actually get into the show itself. Just thought I'd bring that up just as an addendum to what we've been talking about, to what happened last week. What the hell is? Oh,
What happened here? You okay?
uh, yeah, no. All of a sudden, oh wait, no. Suddenly, Teams wasn't acting up. Oh, was acting up. Okay, here we go. I got it fixed now. All right, so let me just get into the first topic of the night here. Just give me, there we go. And we'll take the banner down. I'm going to remove the banner.
It was
Like I
weird.
said, I'm going to remove.
It was weird because it
Go
just.
ahead.
It was weird because it just knocked me off of Teams 2, and then it said I had 2 updates.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird.
Okay, well, yeah, maybe it's just acting up tonight. Okay, so the first topic tonight, and this is a kid, there is a lot of Canadian content tonight. Just giving you a heads up, folks. I live in Canada, so it's like you are going to get you're going to get Canada content from me, whether you like it or not. So anyway, Mark Carney, I don't, and I full like. I mean, I really. The more I look at Mark Carney and how he's been dealing with Trump, um, first of all, he used, and again, not that either one of us is fully on board with Team Trump or anything like that, but the way Carney has been acting, uh, he seems like, I mean, he seems to be like under the belief that like Canada is somehow untouchable, even though we like literally have this a several thousand-mile long border with the United States, and that what happens in the United States isn't going to affect us up here, which is not true at all. But I mean, he won because he used anti-Trump rhetoric to, well, he didn't get a majority. He's actually a minority prime minister at this point, but he seems to keep thinking that he's somehow, even though his predecessor Justin Trudeau basically drove Canada down in terms of economic growth and foreign investment, whatever, in the G7, that if he just quietly continues on with these policies and he continues to antagonize Trump, that somehow Canada is going to somehow magically be the exception to the rule when it comes to some of the things that Trump is attempting to do. And of course, that's not what's happening here. Now, the only conclusion that I can think of as to why Trump, there we go. The only thing that I can conclude about this is like Carney is doing one of two things. He is either fully competent that there's some type of, he's been sold on some type of a plan that he thinks that he's under the impression that people over in Europe, I don't know, the globalists or whatever, are going to somehow intervene between his feud with Trump in the United States, and that this is going to be the saving grace, or he is intentionally trying to drive Canada into the ground so that it actually becomes a part of the US. Those are really the only two logical explanations that I could think of as to why it is that he would knowingly and willingly antagonize the Trump administration. Now, I'm not, like I say, I'm not fully on Team Trump by any stretch of the imagination. But I mean, Carney is, and it's where I live. I live in Alberta. Carney is in a situation right now where the province that is basically paying out to keep the infrastructure in Canada going right now is dangerously close to separating. Like, there is going to be a vote next year. I took a look at the numbers in terms of the support for it. It ranges somewhere between 45 and 48% currently in favor. And specifically when it comes to Alberta, there are still probably about like 80% of the Conservative Party of Canada is actually it's either strongly in favor of or in favor of separation. There's still another 10% that aren't sure, and there's only a very small minority that are like do not want to separate from Canada at this point. So what's basically going on is that when it comes to Alberta separation, the only thing that is stopping Albertans from separating is Albertans themselves, right? And Carney just keeps choosing to do the dumbest move possible to try to force Alberta to basically go running and either becoming a territory or a state within the United States. I also have to point out something here, too, is that the Democrats are really desperately trying to get the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico to become states. If that happens and Alberta is already a territory or whatever, then the Republicans will push really hard to make Alberta a state, which will countermand any electoral advantage the Democrats get from adding the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico as states. Carney just keeps, when it comes to his dealings with Trump, just continuously chooses to do the stupidest move over and over and over and over and over again. And, the impression that I'm getting from Trump is that Trump does, it's not like Obama or Biden where they would just do it. Like, Trump usually tries to give you, at least it's been my experience so far, that Trump for the most part will usually give you a chance to change your mind when he asks you to do something. And Carney has probably been told in no uncertain terms what was going to happen, yet he chose to do this anyway. And that means that Carney is either a stooge or really fucking stupid. One or the other. Because, again, right, like, these tariffs are not going to affect Alberta so much because Alberta has got a side deal going with Trump, right? But, every time he does this, a few more people, the edge that the nationalists for lack of a better term, the pro Canada crowd in Alberta has on the separation vote here is razor thin. And it's going to continue to get worse as long as Carney continues to continues to be antagonistic towards Trump, and that's what he keeps doing. And again, right? Surprise, surprise, more tariffs. And he was told that if he continued to do what he was doing, this was what was going to happen. And you know what? This is another example with Trump where you fuck around and you find out. And yeah, I just have to keep saying this. By no means am I on I'm on Team Trump, but you don't have to be on Team Trump to figure out what fuck around and find out is. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Roger.
To the wild man. Now, the thing with Carney, I'm gonna stick with what I said earlier. Whenever he became your guys' prime minister, I think he was a shield that was put in place by the royal family, because they know the threat that's going on when it comes to Canada, and like you said about you guys separating, you know. So his whole job there is to come in and kind of like put the power of the crown back into place. You know what I mean? Because it just seems odd how he ended up getting all that prestige over there in England, and now he's back in England or Canada, and how he was able to be voted in supposedly as prime minister, you know. And the thing that's going on between Trump and him, that's all political navigation, you know, especially with two people who know a lot about economics. This is tit for tat for those two, you know. So it's all about negotiation, making the big deal, you know. And it so when I look at all this stuff, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the perspective of you have basically here in the United States in baseball, we would call that a designated hitter, and that's what he is. He's a designated hitter who's supposed to come in and he's supposed to do kind of what the president of Mexico, what she's trying to do right now. She's trying to Trump-proof your guys' government, you know, and that's what she's doing in Mexico. So I can see that happening. And see the thing about Trump that really scares England is this is a big threat to England. Me and Mark, we really can't have this conversation too much because he's too hardcore English. But England was England has had like a really, really strong connection to socialism whenever it first started, before it became communism and all of that, you know. And when it comes to the Labor Party and the anarchist movements and all of that, that's all central to English politics. It's that in today's world in England, that's what England is about, and that's what it's been about for quite a long time. And then along comes, you know, a populist like Donald Trump, who starts, you know, getting everybody all stoked up on ethno-nationalist ideologies, where England is nothing but, well, basically what they are is they're technocrats. Everything has to do with freaking has to do with data, information, stuff like that. They don't care about what your ideology is. They don't care about what you believe in. They just want the facts, you know. And that's a big threat to them when they have somebody who is a populist, who's president of the United States, and he's trying to get everybody amped up and patriotic The only thing with that is it can go overboard and it can actually cause a lot of bad things. Things like what we've seen with like World War II and with Herzegovina, stuff like that, where there's really bad stuff that ends up happening. So that's a threat to countries like them and also the EU too. And I always tell everybody don't be focusing on China because everybody's so big on focusing on China and how dangerous they are, but that's not where the dangers are coming from. It's coming from Europe. That's where it's going to sneak in. It's going to start taking your rights away from you, and you're not even going to see it coming because it's going to be a lot of that boring political stuff that you really don't want to hear about. The stuff you change your channel to because you're sick and tired of hearing it. All of that horrible economic news. Oh my God. So with that, I'm gonna shut up and let Roki say a bunch of sophisticated stuff. Be smart.
I'm going to. This is me. Sophisticated stuff and smart. There we go. I said it.
Sonya said, "Hey,
All
hey."
right, but before hey Sonia, how you doing? Before we begin though, I'm going to discuss my first endorsement for the night. I found my deep fakes that Kelso made for me, and here's the first one. And we'll do that, and then we will move on to the next. We'll move on to the next topic.
For those who wonder what exactly the standards are on RPN, the answer is simple. The Red Pill Nation has no standards, none whatsoever, and it doesn't need any. Besides, if they had any standards, do you really think they'd have me, Taylor Swift, explaining this to you? Surely not.
There we go. There we go. The Red Pill Nation. No standards whatsoever. Moving on to the next. Moving on to the next. What the hell is going on tonight here?
I see that. It's kind of weird. It starts.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me.
It's like lag.
Yeah, hold on a second. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna have to hit restart. I'm gonna have to. Oh wait, no. There we go.
There you go.
All right, so let me just move there. Let me go. All right, so the next topic, ironically enough, because it is about the next topic is actually about him, Howard Stern. Once upon a time, Howard Stern was actually pretty goddamn funny. I remember seeing the movie Private Parts. I remember laughing my ass off at it. I remember laughing my ass off at some of the antics that Howard Stern was doing in the 90s. It pissed off the conservatives, and I actually liked that at the time. He had porn stars on. He had all sorts of. I mean, he was fucking edgy as fuck. 20 to 25 years ago. Now, I was a little bit surprised when I found out that he was still on. I didn't know how much of a complete sellout he had become until he started attacking Joe Rogan. Here's the thing. At his peak, Howard Stern had twice the size of the audience of a typical Joe Rogan podcast. So Stern was at one point, although keep in mind, I can think if it was possible, I would if it ever becomes if it ever reaches the point where the social justice BlackRock crowd can no longer control the media, I could see a radio show like Sirius or another radio show actually go and approach Rogan about going on and be about simulcasting on their show. In which case, Rogan's show will probably be a lot larger than Howard Stern's. I did not know about this until I found out that Howard Stern had actually that his show was somehow going off the air. But Howard Stern was down to as little as 125,000. At his peak, he had 20 million people listening to his show, and he typically, he typically averages about 125 to 150,000. To put that in perspective, he has lost 99.4% of his audience. Jaguar, by the way, which also they only lost 98 and a half. Sirius is not going to be picking him back up, obviously. And it's like when you start, like when I started showing me takes of some of the stuff that Howard Stern is doing, the only way you lose that degree of popularity with your audience is by selling. Yeah, by the way, Galactic Fire t-shirts, I did post up the link. It's actually in the low bar, and I actually did mention the show here. I did actually mention that the link was down there. Just an FYI for you there, Sonia. Galactic Fire t-shirts, by the way. So yeah, the only way you lose that type of an audience is this: you sell out so badly and so completely. And it was sort of like he attacked Joe Rogan, and he said some stuff about people who weren't vaccinated, and he looks like he completely bought into the whole vax narrative and like the whole thing. And I mean, and his interview with Joe Biden and what he said about Joe Biden afterwards, it was very, very, very obvious that he had completely sold out. And that's literally,
Yeah.
I mean, there have been that have lost significant portions of their audience as well. But in terms of losing total audience count, I can't think of another celebrity that has lost as much of their popularity as Howard Stern. Like over 99% of his audience is gone. Right? Like the only way you do that is to be, well, I mean, incompetent, stupid, a sellout, a hypocrite. Like you have to do a whole combination of stupid things in order to do that. And it's like I would like to feel sorry for Howard Stern, but I mean, to me, I mean, Howard Stern is nothing much more than a fucking sellout, and I'm not gonna miss him. And Joe Rogan has very clearly replaced him as the top dog. And the only reason Joe Rogan isn't getting the same numbers that Howard Stern was at his peak is because there's corporate and government and other forces that are clearly making an effort to make sure that Joe Rogan doesn't get those kind of numbers, right? And it's like at some point that's going to give out as well. But yeah, Howard Stern, goodbye, good riddance. You won't be fucking missed. And on to Roger with this one.
And I've got to unmute, but yeah, I didn't know that he was even still on the radio, to be honest with you. He was a pretty big hit back in the day when he first started. And I think it's more of just his ego. He's like, he has a real big ego because now I guess he feels intimidated or threatened. I don't know, because Rogan's getting all the views and stuff, or people are going and listening to him, But I could see that happening. Him being it would be more ego than anything else when it comes to him and Joe Rogan. And I don't really keep up on anything that he did. I think the only cool thing I've seen was he allowed one of his fans outside of his radio station to come in and hang out if she ate her hair. So she had to eat her hair at the back door. I thought that was so cool. Like that chick just took that hair, cut it right off her head, and stuck it right in her mouth, dude. Isn't that awesome?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, he's the absolute head of cool. He was the thing, man. He was fucking rocking and funny 20 plus years ago.
Hmm. Just horrible. I mean, it's just I really honestly didn't even know that he was still on the air. To be honest, I had to go.
I knew he was on the air, but it was kind of like, you know,
Who cares?
it's like just like what can I say, man? I mean, the guy just completely sold out.
Hmm. Well, he was just at a certain point he just got uninteresting. You know what I'm saying? It's like who if he vanished, nobody would have even noticed. Or, well, I guess nobody is noticing because like this is the first time I even heard that his show's being canceled. You know, I didn't even know he had a show still. You know, big old. So I mean, for me, that says enough. And it's true he was a pretty popular guy back in the '90s. It doesn't even seem interesting to me. So the more I talk, the more I seem to be wasting time or filling air. So
Yeah, well, I'm busy doing. I'm actually busy down. Like I'm putting. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm uploading comedy slots and funny commercials while you're busy talking. So by all means, keep talking for a few more minutes because I got one more video to download here.
I mean, you had to do it during the time that the topic was about Howard Stern. I mean, seriously, like like that's like one of the. I mean, come on, dude. You know, I, what can I say here? Let me go and double check and see if Sonya has anything cool to say in chat so that I can avoid having to tell you how cool or uncool this dude is. I forgot his name. What was it? Howard Stern. Sonya, what?
Howard Stern, yeah, Howard Stern.
Sonya Galactic. What do you think of Howard Stern? Do you like him? Do you think he's still cool, or do you whatever? Dude was cool at one time, but now he just sucks.
Well, I mean, again, right? It's
She said she
dude's a
has.
fucking
She said she has tons of stuff to say. He's not
okay.
cool.
No, he's not. He's not cool. He's not even remotely cool. Yeah, no. Good riddance, Howard Stern. You won't be fucking missed. But anyway, yeah. Let's move on to the next topic because like we've got 7 topics tonight.
I
So
was
let me
just
just.
I was just trying to run my mouth enough so that you could finish whatever it was you were doing, and we could
Oh, that's
move.
okay. Yeah, I am. I'm done here. We can. But before we do, let's go to the second. Let's go to the new commercial here. This one is from Tinfoil Hats Are Us. It's Barack Obama endorsing me.
If um, you're a thought criminal, then tin foil hats are us, as you covered. With one of their stylish hats, you can be protected from all of the things that people like me will insist that government isn't doing to you. If you suffer from the mental illness called thinking, then order yours today.
That's right, man. If you're suffering from the illness called thinking, order yours today. Operators are standing by. Tinfoil hats, all styles, all colors. We even got them for the family dog, so you cannot have to deal with those pesky little alien abductions with the uncomfortable probing, unless of course you're Rearson and he gets his gimp suit ready there, ready to go.
You had to mention the gimp suit.
Gimp suit, yeah, Rearson there. He's all gimp suit ready. That's your fault, Rearson. If you're listening to this and you hear that, that's your punishment for not jumping on tonight.
He really inspires people with the gimp suit too. By the way, like I've noticed that a lot of people come on and watch the show when we talk about the gimp suit.
Yep. That's the type of audience that we want to appeal to, which is why we say the word boobs every chance we get and talk about Sydney Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got tonight's special rack is brought to you by Gina Carano. Boobs. Other than that, let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next topic here. Because that's just the way the Red Pill Nation rolls. And speaking of boobs, although I'm not sure whether we are talking about Gina Carano's or the actual boobs over at Disney that did this thing, let's just quickly go over what happened. Social justice warriors decided in their infinite fucking wisdom that that Gina Carano was the exact spokesman because she was playing a strong independent woman. They decided that she was going to be the face of all of their social justice bullshit, and they started putting pressure on her to start making social justice commentaries. And Gina Carano basically went, "No, I'm not doing that. Right? That's not me. I don't want to do it." They actually started getting angry with her because she wouldn't put pronouns in her bio. Yeah, I wish I was saying that. And she said, did a whole bunch of things, but she didn't do anything that the two things that did it. One, and this is an actual true fact. The way it worked in Germany with the Jewish population is that the Germans published a whole lot of propaganda to get people to hate their neighbors long before they started rounding them up. And they also did this with the Romani, and they also did this with the Slavs. It wasn't just the Jews that they were talking about. And she pointed out quite rightly that this is exactly what they were going to be doing with the conservatives. That pissed a few people off. And of course, she also posted up a photo at one point of a German by the name of, there's this rather famous photo, which I actually couldn't find, of a German by the name of August Langmaster. Now, August Langmaster is sitting in a crowd, and every single person in this crowd has their right arm, has their left, I think it's the right or their left arm up doing the Hitler salute. And August Langmaster is the only person in the crowd not doing it. August Langmaster was not doing it because he was in love with and was living with a Jewish woman. And he, there's no way he was going to support this. August Langmaster ended up becoming disappeared. Nobody actually ever knows what happened to him. Gina Carano pointed him out as an example of courage, and some very dishonest assholes tried to accuse Gina Carano of being a Nazi because she pointed this out. She eventually got fired. Her agency fired her, and a whole bunch of other things happened. And in the meantime, Pedro Pascal is busy being a hypocrite and saying a whole truckload of leftist bullshit and getting away with it. And of course, you've also got Rachel Zegler, who was indirectly tied into this as well. Did somebody just jump in?
Maybe.
Digitally created boobs for... Oh! Damn, unfortunately, that's not suitable for YouTube or whatever. Otherwise, I would absolutely put that in there. But I will give it a thumbs up, Sonia. Thank you very much for the photo. Unfortunately, we can't share that even on Rumble.
Visitors from Landulos.
Yep. So
Lanalos.
though they look very nice, though. By the way. So yeah. Gina Carano decided to take Disney to court. In the meantime, Bob Iger decided that he was going to antagonize Elon Musk. Elon Musk, in a move very similar to what Peter Thiel did with Hulk Hogan, went to Gina Carano and says, "I will pay all your legal fees in your lawsuit against Disney." Now, the way Disney usually works when it comes to lawsuits, in fact, all of the Hollywood studios will do this because in particular, screenplay theft, most of the major, which is, by the way, why I never sent any of my scripts down to any of these agencies for approval. Screenplay theft is so common, and what they usually do around screenplay theft is that if somebody somehow spots the line, what they'll do is they will just throw it in. They will like, "Oh, Sonia, yes, I will allow you to join in." They will allow you to. They will just drag it out in court, and they will just basically outspend you. Unfortunately, Disney could not do that with Gina Carano. And what they tried to do is that they tried to delay discovery on the case for as long as humanly possible. And what eventually happened was that, when it became rather obvious that they had no intention of complying with the discovery request, because the lawyers at Gina Carano's lawyers had the financial capacity and the access to the right people, they basically went, it's like, yeah, look, stop fucking stalling. And they Disney tried twice to get this tossed out of court, and it didn't work. And they were getting very, very close to the discovery phase. And if the discovery phase had actually come out, then I suspect a lot of people would have been named. And I suspect there are probably even some fairly prominent people over at Lucasfilm, possibly even Kathleen Kennedy, that may have ended up finding themselves in serious legal trouble. So Disney took the knee and settled with Carano before discovery even occurred. And, you're getting the usual Hollywood outlets and leftist outlets trying to minimize this. But what is very, very clear here is that, and I know because I just went through a rather difficult, I'm on the back end of a rather difficult and stressful period that I'm going through right now. And I can tell you, man, like it is maybe not necessarily physically, but can be physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually draining to have to deal with it. And, I'm not going to say what happened today, but I mean, I'm not going to go into all the details, but I mean, like, today's the first day where I've actually had the chance to actually like not get up and not have to do anything that I didn't want to. And I slept for 11 hours today. This is the first time I've actually had some really solid, restful sleep in like over a month because the situation is done. So yeah, it is physically exhausting. Should Carano have maybe kept going? Yeah, maybe not. But what I can specifically tell you is that, you can't really blame Carano for wanting to settle because, I mean, apparently she got a fairly healthy, she's going to get a fairly healthy, of course, there's also a non-disclosure agreement tied into this as well, undoubtedly. The bleeding continues unabated for Disney, Disney just cannot help but lose. They just can't stop losing. And with that, I am going, since Sonia has decided to jump in. Sonia, you can have your 5 cents worth of commentary on Gina Carano. And yes, boobs.
We love
Yes,
boobs.
boobs. Well, what I've got to say is boobs, boobs, and then boobs again.
I love it.
Uh, so anything Disney's got going on is probably pretty sinister, if you ask me, with all the porn they put in their child's movies. Uh, so, so yeah, so that's kind of my take on the whole Disney anything, really. You know.
Yeah, Roger.
Oh man.
Roger.
I know. Hold on a minute.
Roger.
Sorry about that. I thought she was gonna say a lot more. I muted.
Well, I mean,
I muted myself out, and then I had to unmute
well, I
myself.
mean, I will point out, man, Disney has had some very, like, is when you if you want to start getting into that, I mean, Disney has had some very suspicious content
Oh yeah.
in their cartoons over the years, especially the last few of them, for sure. Anyway, Roger, continue.
Well, I mean, in the earlier days, they had a lot of things that were done like that, and they came up with things that people could, actually believe during like the '60s and stuff and '50s and everything, because like their whole excuse behind that was like they wanted to make things that were entertaining for both adults as well as kids. But then they just kept pushing the envelope, and like as I got older, I noticed it was just going a little bit overboard. You know what I mean? It's like now it's just completely outrageous when it comes to some of the stuff that they're putting on those shows. You know what I mean? It's in your face, so you can't just say that it's just to entertain. And I think they hid behind that because like back in the '70s, you've seen where a lot of people who made what we would consider kid shows did want to make it something that was entertaining for adults too. Like Bewitched was a good example. When you watch Bewitched, you'd say, well, why are they constantly always drinking, in the middle of a freaking kid show about freaking a witch, and it was a legit question, you know what I mean? It's like, why is it that all the adults are always getting a freaking a mixed drink, And that's what it was. They just wanted to make it to where adults could enjoy the show just as much as what the kids were, but it's like I said, they took it just a little bit too far when it came to the Disney shows. Like they had like little scenes in there that resembled like a vagina or something. You know what I mean? And things like that stood out to you that most people wouldn't even pay attention to, but they were there. But that was as far as it went, in the cartoons. So I did find that weird. And it's just like with this woman, I mean, it's like, why would you hire a woman who has boobs that big? It just doesn't make sense.
Oh, it's totally conspiracy, yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's sexual innuendo right there.
Well, people can have big boobs and still do a good job at stuff, I mean, come on.
What kind of job we talking about?
any any job that requires any kind of a skill,
With big
right?
boobs. Hey, dude. I like your thinking.
It's true, right, Naroki?
Yep.
Well, I mean, she was right for what she did. You know what I'm saying? It was good that she did it, and the fact that Elon actually pitched in and paid the bills on that, it's pretty cool too. I mean, I know a lot of people who are, into politics these days, like to badmouth them and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm kind of weirded out on some of the things that Elon believes in, but I also think that, he's actually done some good too, you know what I mean? I'm kind of disappointed with his sorry ass for not getting us into outer space when said he was going to. It's supposed to happen this year and it's already August. So that kind of pissed me off, but at least he's trying, you know what I mean? And I don't agree with a lot of these people who say that freaking exploration is just a waste of money and a waste of time. I think that's something that we really do need to continue doing. I mean, we wouldn't have the United States if we didn't have people who were freaking curious and trying to find something new, So they put their lives on the line. It wasn't like it wasn't risk free for them to get on a freaking boat made of wood and cross the Atlantic. You know what I mean? That's pretty dangerous. So and that's the same thing with space exploration. It's dangerous, but that's where we need to go. We need to find out new stuff, find out where those aliens are hiding. I think they're hiding on the moon, dude. I think they're hiding in the moon. All we need to do is go up there and give them some Jello pudding.
Wow.
Just some pudding, some chocolate pudding.
Right.
Chocolate pudding and Rice Krispies.
I cannot necessarily disagree with that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I do good, Naruki?
Yeah, you done good. You done good.
Oh,
You done
okay.
good.
I did mention her boobs, right?
Yeah, you did. Of course, it wouldn't have been a very good show if you hadn't
Wouldn't have
mentioned
been
the
the
word
same.
boob.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I meant her
It
boobs.
would. It wouldn't. It would. Well, yeah. Actually, she does actually have a very
Extensive background.
exactly.
Mentioning backs too, by the way. If women always have been coming up with this excuse that they need to like have breast reductions because it's affecting their back, causing back problems.
Yeah.
For
I
shame.
think that's. Well, I mean, you wouldn't have been made that way if it wasn't okay to be able to handle it. I mean, come on.
You're supposed to be
That's how
able
I
to.
see it.
You're supposed to be able
Yeah.
to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
supposed to carry your own weight. You know what I'm saying?
It's not like quote unquote God is making us in these weird. It's not like there was any like gene splicing going on. I mean, if it's a natural thing, then you're probably going to be able to handle it, right?
Right.
I mean, geez. That's like, could be similar to like a ball reduction or a penis reduction. You're not going to have
Oh,
too
don't go.
much going on to where you can't handle it. I mean, come on. It's
do
crazy.
they even do penis reductions?
Oh, I was listening to a commercial about penis enlargement here.
Well,
like
that's
2 days ago.
That's understandable, but
Yeah.
like she's talking
Yeah.
about penis reduction, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
would a man actually? Well, I guess so. If they want to be a woman,
I mean, it would have to be a. I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. It's like a boob reduction. I mean, I guess I get it, but I think that it's probably natural to not do that. You know what I mean? You're
yeah.
born with it, kind of thing.
Well,
So,
I mean, only thing I gotta say to anybody who gets a penis reduction is you're a pussy.
date bigger girls or something, I guess, right?
I got a good joke.
Do ya?
Something like that, yeah.
It involves freaking Cheerios and watermelons.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's this dude, he went to go see a psychologist. And he went to see the psychologist, and it was a woman. He goes, Doc, I have a problem. You need to help me. She's like, She's like, what's the problem? He goes, well, I cannot have sex with my wife no matter how much I try to pull myself together enough to do it. I cannot have sex with my wife. And she goes, well, that's easy to take care of. She goes, you got to romance your wife. She's like, with me and my husband, this is what we do. When I want to have sex and he wants to have sex, I call him up and tell him that we should have sex that night. He'll go out, he'll get some cherries.
You know someone who suffers from Gen Z disorder? Emotional hypersensitivity.
And he said I'll get some. He'll go out and get some cherries, and what I'll do is I'll stop by the donut shop and I'll buy some donuts, and he'll throw cherries at my hoo-hoo, and then eat them out, and I'll throw donuts at his wiener, and eat the donut off if it makes it onto the thing, and she turns around and tells him that, and he gets all excited. He says, oh, that's awesome, hold on, can I use your phone? And she goes, yeah, sure, go ahead and use my phone. So he gets the phone, he dials his wife up, and he says, honey, I've got a really good idea, but before I tell you, all I have to say is you need to go to the store and you need to get some watermelons and some Cheerios.
Oh my God! Yeah, I get it. It took me.
Boy, it's hilarious.
Oh, hey, I actually found the Arab crypto Peter. He's the one that was talking about. Oh well, I can't find it right now. Well, I'll you know what? I'll download it for the next show. All right.
Oh, say that again. The Arrow crypto.
Arab crypto Peter.
Oh my God! What kind of shit are you watching, dude?
Wow.
That's
crazy.
That's hardcore.
It is.
The Arab crypto Peter. I'm gonna Google that
on Instagram.
Oh God. The Arab crypto. Okay, you go ahead and I will pull that up if I can find it.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the next topic here. We've had enough talk about boobs and everything. I think our 5 listeners might want me to start talking about something else. Not that I really want to talk about something else.
Fine.
No, they.
Fine. Yeah. Fine. We'll talk about some. Oh. This here is the Manosphere content of the night. Oh, this one is absolutely like mwah. You want to talk about female, you want to talk about it's certain conservative otherwise known as in the Manosphere they're known as conservathoughts. Isabella DeLuca, there's a couple of other ones. They dress Fitness Nala, former former OnlyFans girl that made porno content and then found Jesus, but somehow couldn't quite get around to deleting all of her old OnlyFans hardcore content until some of the people in the Manosphere started calling her out on it. And then she deleted it, and then she went over and she does it. Anyway, a lot of hypocrisy involved here. Well, there's one, and again, I don't know this woman because I don't really give a damn about. I mean, if you want to think about hypocritical conservative thoughts, go look at Lauren Southern. Lauren Southern is pretty smart, but she also has made she's also a smart woman that has made some very stupid choices. But there's another one. There's another woman called Sarah Stock. Now, I don't know about her, but apparently Sarah Stock is getting married, which I could not care less about. Here is the thing. She posts up a photo of her ring. And she says, I won. and she is what you call a female conservative, blonde hair, blue eyes, the whole 9 yards, right? She immediately, and this also came from women like Isabel DeLuca and a couple of other women. They were commenting about how small her ring was, and the whole thing here. I'll post up the photo. That's the initial photo. This is Sarah Stock. They're commenting about how small the photo is. Yeah, she looks pretty good, but I mean, they're commenting about how small the ring was. And a lot of conservative women started commenting about how small the ring was. And it was like, yeah. I wish I could find. Well, actually, it'll be in the feed here at some point. I'll show you some of the other stuff that was being talked about it. And there are also a bunch of hypocritical alt-right libtards, not alt-right libtards, but libtards that were also insulting her because her wedding ring, her engagement ring was so small. And it was like, but the big part is that there were certain women. I'll very briefly post them up. Just remember, guys, boobs. This is Isabella DeLuca.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the other one that was doing it. Those photos will be coming up later, by the way.
Chicks in a bedroom, dude. That's just so hot. Like all of them are in there together. Look at that. That's like an orgy just waiting to happen.
Yep, it is.
Go back.
It is.
Go back.
It is indeed. Oh, come on. Yeah, there you go. There's the photo.
That, dude, a whole room.
Feathers say it all right there.
Yeah, see that feathers right there?
Mm-hmm.
That's boo-boolicious.
Exactly. Anyway, going back to Sarah Stock. Here is actually not a bad, but yeah. Anyway, when in particular when Isabella DeLuca, as in this one here in the blue bathing suit that I'm posting up right now.
Oh, hold on. Let me go back to this. Okay. Oh yeah, there you go.
That's Isabella DeLuca. Yep.
Now who's that?
That's Sarah Stock.
Okay.
The one in the blue bikini, that's Isabella DeLuca. This is Sarah Stock.
Uh-huh. No, DeLuca, she's Italian, right?
Hispanic.
Oh, close enough.
Anyway, so
they
were there, Jimmy, and of course, people in the manosphere, in particular, what Isabella DeLuca has also been, and this happened at the start of 2024. Isabella DeLuca likes to do these quote unquote cooking videos. Her cooking videos, and Fitness Nala has also done this as well. Her cooking videos always somehow feature her in form-fitting, tight clothes. And for some strange reason, even though she's actually cooking, somehow the camera always seems to be centered on her boobs. Which, by the way, as a heterosexual male, I don't mind, because as you clearly saw from the photos I said, I put up of Elizabeth DeLuca. She's got a rockin' body and a nice set. That being said, though, it's also really massively hypocritical. Guys, and like she organized with Lauren Sutton, a couple of people try to get Rollo Tomasi taken down from YouTube at the start, and by the way, doxed Rollo's daughter as well, to try to get Rollo Tomasi taken off the air, because Rollo Tomasi called her out for being a hypocrite because her cake baking video seemed to be focused on her chesticles and not the actual cake that she was baking.
What was the name of this? What's the name of this stream anyhow? Because I want to go check it out. Isabella
DeLuca bakes cake.
Oh, cool.
Isabella DeLuca bakes cake. This is the start of it's at the start of 2024. And she did this, and of course, the manosphere being the manosphere, they started calling them out on this, and basically, and to a certain extent, they're absolutely right. Because this is something that the MGTOW community will especially talk about when it comes to, and the term that they will call these particular conservative grifter women, they will call them trad thoughts. the one thing that these trad thoughts will do is that they'll make big noise about being morally conservative and whatnot and being upright, but it's like they still have zero qualms about subtly selling their sexuality. Isabella DeLuca is probably one of the more notorious ones that does it. I really don't care because I actually think Elizabeth DeLuca's got a rockin' body, but I mean that's just me. You know, I don't know all the women in the trad thought community. I will also point out that Ashley St. Clair also fell into this crowd, and she had a full army of simps willing to back her up until she actually started complaining to Elon Musk that he wasn't sending her enough money to support her and her baby, even though Elon Musk was paying for an apartment in a very upscale part of New York that she was living in. Oh, just in case everybody wants to know, Ashley St. Clair, before she was Ashley St. Clair, was Sexy Laptop on OnlyFans. Yeah. That channel no longer exists, by the way. But there is actual, I won't say hardcore content, but there's definitely not suitable for work content that Ashley St. Clair did at Sexy Laptop that is out there online. Again, though, it's like when this happens, when Sarah Stock, and it's good on Sarah Stock, she's getting married, whatnot, right? Here, I'll post up the I'll wait another 30 seconds here when I have to go into another change. I'll post up another photo of Sarah Stock's wedding ring. I mean, and this is something that got pointed out. It's not the size of the ring that matters. It's and this is exactly what a lot of conservative communities have been saying. It's not the size of the ring. It's the symbology that the engagement ring portrays. Right? That's the thing. Here, actually, here you go. I'll post up another photo. Yeah.
You really don't want me to go there, do you?
Well, you're going to get your chance to say something about it anyway. So, yeah. So a lot of female a lot of trad thought, conservative, hypocritical, grifter women got exposed with this because a lot of these women, and this is something that comes straight out of the MGTOW community, a lot of these women will talk a big game. A lot of these women will say it's not about the money. They will say all the things that a certain faction of the manosphere that goes to the right will like to believe. And of course, there's also a big, huge tradcon thing going on as well, which is what they're appealing to. But when it comes to something like, say, Sarah Stock getting a ring, and it's not a particularly big ring, they're more concerned about the size of it rather than the fact that it's just a symbol. It's the symbology about getting married. Now, me personally, I'm never getting married. You know, I am definitely never getting down on a fucking knee and proposing. Like, you can fucking forget that. And you know, I'm good on Sarah that she's getting married. I really don't care, but it's the hypocrisy of other hypocritical conservative women turning on her, and also just like people hating on her that she's going to take the next step in her life. And again, it doesn't really matter to me, but it's like this is something that's been going around in the manosphere, so I had to say something about it. So, Sonia, you're up.
I think that boobs are great. Cakes are great too. And there should be no reason why they shouldn't go together.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, right? So I have no complaints about that at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the same time.
But nothing about the wedding.
even at
Nothing
the
about
same
the
time.
wedding ring. Nothing about the wedding ring, though.
The wedding ring. That's kind of kind of lame that people would even like worry about such a thing. You know, I mean, that's very girly. It's highly girly
Yeah.
to look at the size of a ring and judge about it. You know, that's just what my particular perspective is on it. So yeah, super lame. You
All right,
know,
Roger,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to add that you don't actually need a ring that symbolizes Saturn anyway to be in love with someone or even get married for that matter. Yeah. And then Raj, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, this just goes to show that size does matter. Okay. Every man has always freaking heard a woman say, "Oh, it doesn't matter how big it is. It matters how good you use it." Well, this is a good example. Like, see, look at that ring. That poor, pathetic, small ring. It wasn't man that said that that was a small ring and that it didn't matter. It was a woman who said it.
Mm-hmm.
So think
Yep.
about that. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
now I agree with what you said, Sonia. If you want to go out and get yourself one of those circular things that you put on your finger that signifies eternal slavery and bondage, then you go ahead and do that. You know what I mean? The whole what is that, the cycle of Saturn, I believe is what they call it. Like, your Saturn worshippers are the ones who actually started doing that.
Well, yeah, that's what it represents. It has to do with. I'm sure that you probably ran across this in some of your research, but if not, it would be interesting to actually look into even more. But yeah, that's the whole symbology of being under the Saturn spell. So they say is having the ring, and there's way more to it that I don't even know about. But yeah, kind of the Saturn Moon matrix thing that people have talked about, the frequency fence thing, and all that. So it has something to do with that, as well as mind control, brainwashing type of stuff, and everything.
All right, great stuff. That's stuff that
Yeah.
freaking people love.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, it is very interesting for sure because it has a whole history behind it. It's like almost that movie, The Lord of the Rings. It kind of has something like that going on with it.
Be careful. You start talking about Lord of the Rings, and Hiroki's going to freaking love you, dude. Like he'll
Yeah.
talk for hours just about Lord of the
Oh,
Rings.
yeah. That's a great movie for sure. Hmm.
That's all I gotta say. Other than the fact that I think that boobs and chocolate should go together too. With
Yeah,
with
for sure.
that chocolate topping that you put on there that's all runny, and what do they call that stuff?
It's like chocolate syrup, maybe
Yeah, kind of like that. It's where instead,
ganache,
yeah,
whatever it is.
just kind of like rub that stuff all over.
Oh boy.
It's your turn, Naroki.
Yeah, hold on a second. I was about to play some sexy music and then went to an ad.
Aha. See, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of figured that's what was going on.
He,
All right, so yep. Hold on a second here. Yep, I love me Lord of the Rings. I love talking about Lord of the Rings. I love reading
Okay.
about Lord of the Rings.
Who-
I totally I could just sit there and romantically watch Lord of the Rings continuously on loop for the rest
Wow,
of my
that's
natural
great.
life.
That's
okay.
really
Yep.
cool.
And then of course Roger at his left hand too. He likes Lord of the Rings too, but not as much as he likes his left hand.
Let
All
me
right,
let me
so-
ask you something though. Now that you brought it to that level, what's the
Jeez.
hottest race in D&D, Lord of the Rings, or whatever, dude? What's the hottest race with the sexiest voice?
Oh, that would be the elves. Absolutely, beyond a single doubt.
Mm-hmm. An elf woman.
An elf maiden. By the way, now you've done it. Now I've got photos of. I'm gonna have to upload a couple photos of elf maidens. I'll have to put them on chat here, and I'll have to upload them here so that I can share them with the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've got some photos of some sexy elf maidens on my phone.
Now, for all you Elder Scrolls fans out there, that would be the equivalence of like a Breton chick.
Yeah, hold on a second here. I'm finding them. I've got them here somewhere. Oh, great. Okay, I will find them here eventually. Anyway, wait, there they are. There they are. All right, there they are. One. Hold on a second here. I'm sending them. I'm putting them in the.
Isn't it cool? He's like perving out on elf chicks.
That's right. That's me perving out on elf chicks. Here we go. There's two. Here we go. That's two. Send. Oh, and hold on a second here. Oh, wait, there's another one. Sexy elf chicks. There we go. I will share them I will share them in the live stream here at some point. But for now, we will move on to topic number 4. I think we're on 4, aren't we?
It could be.
Somewhere in there.
I got lost after we started talking about sexy elf chicks.
It did kind of, do something there and like move things around in the ethers a little bit.
Yeah, we're on number 5 now, because
we're on number 5. Okay, yeah, hold on a second here. All right, topic number 5. All right, Trump administration. Oh yes, this is something that I was a little bit surprised about, because I mean, if I was Trump, I would have moved, because this is the single biggest issue that the far left and the social justice warriors have been using in an attempt to get to silence their critics. They have been using they've been using economic warfare, aka the use of the use of payment providers to basically defund and for instance, Fresh and Fit, for instance, can't run its Fresh and Fit lost its monetization, for instance, from lost its monetization months ago from YouTube, and this has been a very standard tactic that has been used by banks. Stripe in particular has been really bad at doing this. Bank of America has been really bad at doing this. Citibank has also been really bad at doing this. Some banks are worse than others for doing this, but this is the reason why Give Send Go is now such a popular site for crowdfunding now is because GoFundMe destroyed their credibility, in particular around the Canadian convoy. And what ended up happening is that they GoFundMe, and by the way, GoFundMe has done some really. There was one guy who was at it. I can't remember his name. Daniel Dix, Dixx. By the way, that is his name. He was at a protest in Vancouver, and he got assaulted, and he had his GoPro stolen off of him. And he actually went on GoFundMe, and he tried to get his pay for another GoPro, and GoFundMe basically wouldn't allow him to do it. There was also, during the George Floyd riots, there was somebody that broke into this business in Omaha, Nebraska. We actually covered this on the Red Pill Nation when it happened. This guy broke into this one particular bar and tried to rob the place, and this guy shot and killed the person who was trying to rob the place in self-defense. He tried to raise a defense fund via GoFundMe, and GoFundMe basically removed him. GoFundMe also screwed around with the protesters, with the convoy protesters in Canada. And what eventually, and the reason why Give, Send, Go is now the de facto thing is because GoFundMe got so obvious, and they were showing so much political bias that that they just basically, they lost their credibility, and everybody started going over to Give, Send, Go. Because, I mean, at the same time, they were quite happy. GoFundMe, for instance, was quite happy to fund Antifa riots, Antifa events, and whatnot, but certainly wasn't allowing it the other way. Now, in the election, during the presidential election, several, and this, by the way, happened mostly to content producers that were in support of Trump, that were specifically on YouTube or Reddit or one of those sites. A lot of them suddenly got mysteriously debanked. When one of the most notable ones was Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles didn't let it go. He kept going after, I believe it was Stripe. By the way, one of the other things that happened, and we covered this very recently, Collective Shout managed to engage in a form of censorship with Steam, and managed to get about 500 games removed because they went to Stripe, and Stripe basically went over to Steam, and Steam was basically forced to remove these games because they were going to get their economics turned off if they didn't. So what was going on is Michael Knowles wouldn't let this go. Michael Knowles kept demanding a specific reason from his, I think it was Citibank. He was demanding a specific reason from Citibank as to why it was that he had been debanked, and he wasn't letting it go. Now, if this had been anybody else, Citibank would have been able to just ignore the guy. Unfortunately, it's Michael Knowles, and Michael Knowles is politically connected. And when it finally came out, Citibank, when it started coming out on YouTube, and it started, and all of the alt media people started picking up on it, Citibank first tried to ignore it, except, of course, that Trump found out about it, and he basically went to the Secretary of Commerce, and he went, it's like, okay, you want it, because this also happened to him, by the way, and he went to the Secretary of Commerce, and he went, okay, you tell banks that if they continue to debank people for political and social reasons without giving just cause, that there's going to be legal consequences for doing it. Now, Bank of America literally had the nerve to snivel and whine and complain and say, oh, we haven't been doing it, except, of course, that they have been doing it. And again, not every bank has been doing it. For instance, Stripe is really notorious, which was the payment handler for Steam, by the way. Stripe was notorious for doing it. Citibank has been doing it. I think Mastercard was also one of the worst ones for doing it. What really kind of gets me about this particular issue, though, is the fact that, you know, if I would been, say, Donald Trump, the first person that I would have gone after is the payment providers, because the payment providers are the first line of defense that the opposition to the alt media uses. They prevent, because they, among other things, and Roger knows this because Roger's experienced this firsthand, as have I. You know, they bury, YouTube will bury the content, and they will also make sure that you don't get the best ads on your videos and whatnot. So they will do everything they can to limit the amount of money that you're making off your YouTube content. Patreon is also, although apparently Patreon is starting to back off a little bit because they realized, well, they saw what happened to GoFundMe. Patreon has been kind of appears to be backing off a little bit on it, but Patreon was a true believer. PayPal wasn't as bad, but yeah, there were multiple payment providers that were actively censoring social and political speech, and it was especially bad during the COVID situation. And yeah, what really surprises me about this is that they didn't actually go after the payment providers first off, because it's like, at least in my mind, what it kind of symbolizes is that, you know, if you level the playing field economically, and the alt media is suddenly there's more people able to make a living off of alt media, all of a sudden, you know, you're leveling the playing field to the point where a certain other side is really going to start to lose. And again, I am not, again, like I say, neither me nor Roger are completely sold on Trump. But I mean, I was surprised he didn't do this like right away, like first thing out the gate. But he didn't. But I mean, I'm glad he finally did. And it's, it's looking like it's going to be a good thing, because it's like, again, right, certain sniveling banks and whatnot are denying that they did this. Unfortunately, though, for them, there's a very obvious track record that shows that they did. And again, I was kind of figuring it was like the situation that happened with Colombia. They were I think there was one of two things. They were waiting for, just like how they were going to wait for one of the Ivy League universities to get a little bit too social justicey, which is what happened with Columbia University. I think maybe Trump was maybe waiting for one of the payment providers to get this, and that was the problem, right? They debanked Michael Knowles, and they were refusing to give him a direct answer as to why it was that they were doing it, because they knew that if they said they didn't agree with the politics, that's not actually part of the policy. Just like how Disney was doing everything it can with, say, Gina Carano photo currently on the screen, where they didn't want to get into discovery because it would have resulted in a lot of legal blowback against Disney. Same sort of thing here. So again, right, as long as you keep pushing, this is what's going to happen. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sonia.
Well, what I have to say is that there's so much crazy stuff going on in the world and in the political world, which all the world's a stage, is it not? So, so there's that. And that's kind of, I mean, unless there's this particular question, like that's pretty much all I have to say about that for the most part. Roger.
Roger.
Raj. Hello. Yeah. So, who knows where he went or what he's doing here? So, that's a beautiful picture, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I got the
Yeah.
elf maidens. I got the elf maidens up. Here's elf maiden number one.
Oh my, beautiful. Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
it's an AI photo, but it was like,
Mhm.
yeah, right on. Roger, are you there?
Yeah. I mean, that would be make a great T-shirt. Just saying, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
it's an AI. It's an AI generated photo.
Yeah. Yeah. I work with AI photos sometimes. So, yeah. I mean, you could
I'm
put
wondering,
Nairobi
and
5 right there, you know.
this is I've been just basically looking for logos for my show.
Oh
This is this
yeah.
is this is AI,
Yeah.
as is this. I'm almost like I'm wondering if I could get those as shirts as well.
Absolutely you could. Absolutely you could. Whatever you want, baby. Whatever you want.
Well, we could talk. I'm broker than well. I won't say I'm broker than broke, but
Yeah.
I just recently I only solved a certain employment situation like on
Oh.
Thursday. So
Uh-huh.
it's like, yeah, so now I'm getting enough hours. And the current asshole that I'm working for very conveniently gave me less than 40 hours this week, which provides me with the perfect excuse to like basically say, that's it. I'm tired of dealing with the haggling over the hours. I'm done. But
Yeah.
Roger, are you there? Not yeah, there you
Yes,
are.
I'm here.
Roger.
I'm here.
It's free, by the way, karaoke. Or karaoke. Naroki. Karaoke Naroki.
Oh, don't do that. You don't want to hear him singing.
Oh no, you don't want that. Anyway,
I
yep,
love it.
there's the first sexy elf girl for you there, Roger.
Yeah,
I've got
I
three
baby.
of them.
know. That's hot.
Mm-hmm.
That is. Now, if you could incorporate that face with the photo that Sonya just shared with us.
Well, I mean, those were digitally created, so there you have it. I'm just saying.
Oh, that was from
I
you.
mean, I painted those. I painted those myself
That's cool.
through a, you know, digital
I
photo.
would put those photos up, but it would virtually guarantee that I
Oh,
wouldn't be
that's
able to
fine.
upload the video.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was more of a personal gift to you guys, and I
Yeah.
just wanted to get your opinion because I wanted to make sure they look okay.
Oh, they look
Yeah,
fine.
they
They
look
they, they
Yeah,
awesome.
look absolutely fantastic.
it's not something I do all the time, but
Y-
it was a
There's there,
customer
there
request.
there's Elf Maiden number two. Roger,
Yeah,
yes, payment
it's pretty.
providers. Feel free to comment.
Yeah, I'm trying to share them on my simulcast so that it is documented. So, well,
I kind of like her better, actually.
Yeah, that's a fairly good AI photo.
the
Hmm.
second one is really good. The ears were a little bit too long, but
Oh, this
Yeah.
is the second one. This is I got one more. I got one more sexy elf maiden. But
the
anyway, Roger, payment providers.
payment providers. What?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Well, see, I've had issues with that, and I'm glad Sonya's here because I've actually used her as a good example on this. And it's not just with PayPal and shit. It's also with how they've used this shit as a gimmick. Okay, like on YouTube, I've got two channels that I can advertise on for help is what they said because they're being so gracious to me. But see, whenever I go in there, they make it to where I have to select from their merchandisers. Okay, I don't get to choose who or whose stores that I want to add onto my channels. So they want to make a disguise. They want to do it in a guise, I guess you could say, as they're helping us out as content creators when in reality they're using us as freaking uh tools so that they as a tool so that they can sell the people that are freaking padding their pockets, you know what I mean, instead of freaking allowing me to choose just anybody that I wanted to add on my stores to sell. Now, if I could do that, then I could turn around and I could go to Sonia's store and I could put her on that program, and then whenever somebody saw my videos, they would see her stuff. You know what I mean? But they don't do that, and that's the reason why they freaking don't do that, is because it's a monopoly. All right, they're creating a
Yeah.
monopoly, and that leaves the small uh, merchants out of the whole circle. You know, that's the reason why I put Sonia's advertisements on my recorded videos and everything, because people who are trying to start their own freaking merchandise stores can't do that. Or they can do it, but it's a really hard competition for them. Now,
Somewhat difficult, yeah.
yeah, you know.
Hmm.
Now, when it comes to what you guys were talking about, I heard a little bit before I had to step away, and I'm sorry I had to do that. But I I was bringing that up about 2-3 months ago because Bill Altman on Minds.com was talking crap about Rumble and about how they do their advertising and stuff, and I wanted to point it out on the show that I first mentioned it in, about how, like, when you go in and you set yourself up with freaking not PayPal, but what's the name? You guys were just talking about it, where you get payments.
Stripe.
Stripe. Okay. Now, when you go and you set up an account with Stripe, or even if you don't set up an account with Stripe, if it's available on a platform that you're actually dealing with when it comes to videos or whatever, they have an agreement where freaking they can go through that platform's entire freaking accounts. Every account that's on that platform, they can go through there and they can find out the information that's on there. They can find out what kind of videos you're posting, if you're really freaking controversial when it comes to what you're talking about. They can have that information, and that's with or without you actually being monetized or anything of that nature, just for the simple fact that you have an account there on that thing. And that's what they're making them do. That was one thing that I found out through Odyssey whenever I was going, or whenever I was dealing with Odyssey. I found out that that's the reason why they dropped Stripe. It is because Stripe wanted them to freaking give them the ability to go through and actually freaking see all the information on these people's accounts. And they said no. And this was after they went over to their new format, the way they're doing things now. But just, and how they're doing it is they call it, what is it? Get to know your customers, I think is what it is. It's a program that know your customers or clients, one of the two. And they're using that as an excuse to go through and frickin' censor who frickin' can get monetized and who can't get monetized. And that's just a little bit of information for anybody who's a content creator on the internet and doesn't know about that. Just be aware that freaking Stripe is doing that kind of shit to censor you and make it to where you can't freaking be monetized.
That's good information.
You know?
Yeah, well, I remember seeing that on Odyssey. It was a long message, and it was like, well, I don't really get too much in terms of monetization on Odyssey anyway, but it was like Odyssey for a while was under not if I don't know. Like, yeah, apparently BitChute is leaving Britain, which is probably one of the best decisions they ever made. But Odyssey was really under like vicious attack as well.
Yep.
apparently at one point they almost ran out. They did, like the Kelso was telling me, they actually ran out of money and they were temporarily like up for auction. Apparently somebody must have bought them because they all of a sudden they're back again. But I mean, yeah. Um they same well, I mean, for instance, another like Brighteon is just a small little rump thing that just is, it's there and it's very niche and it's not really growing. Same thing with MGTOW TV. MGTOW TV, same sort of thing, right? It gets they've had, I think, 6 DDoS attacks on them
Mm-hmm.
over the years. They have they're currently having a hard time growing at this point because, again, right, it's like, and this is something that, I mean, at some point Google is probably going to end up facing Google and Reddit. Google, Reddit, Quora, Wikipedia. There's a few other social media sites that are probably also at some point going to face the heat. And it might not necessarily happen during Trump's tenure, but they are going to have to face the heat at some point because they very clearly took a side. And that side is now losing the culture war in a big way because what ended up happening, and this is what particularly happened with Parler, is that, I mean, you know, they took over and they dared us to go out and create an alternate platform, and we did. And then they tried to shut us down, but unfortunately it's not working anymore because they didn't have any legal basis to shut these platforms down in the first place. But that's not going to stop them from trying, and they have to try too, because to quote Kelso, they're losing. And as Kelso has said, they're not going to just quietly go away. They're going to try even harder to try to get these sites shut down, and they're going to use up all of their capital to try and do it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, fully expecting that the British government literally threatened Rumble. Like they said that they literally threatened Rumble with some serious action. They actually threatened Rumble if they didn't take down certain content creators. And like Rumble's response is, well, you're not our main audience and we don't answer to you, go away. And like the British government actually like literally threatened Rumble. We will be watching you very closely from this point forward. So basically they threatened Rumble is what they did. So yeah, this is something that's going to be going on for a while. Yeah, kind of scary when you stop and think about it.
What you were referring to with the Rumble was what's his name? The guy. He's real popular on Rumble. He's got the curly hair and everything.
Russell Brand.
Yeah. Yeah. It was over all that stuff. I remember that.
Well, here was the thing. It was like, oh, well, you can't be talking about Russell Brand. It's interfering with our investigation. The first thing that people started asking is like, what investigation? Right? It's like, I haven't heard you talking about any type of an investigation. There were these random accusations labeled at Russell Brand, and nothing ever happened. There was no lawsuits involved. There was no investigation involved, but you're trying to act. This is almost like what is going on up here, for instance, with Alberta separation. The certain Native American Native chiefs are acting as though they've got the power of the veto to prevent Alberta from separating, and they don't, but they're acting like they do, and the media tries to pretend like they do. And they don't. Right? And that's basically along the same lines as this. So, unless anybody else has anything more to say, we are going to go on to topic number...
I do have one thing to ask.
Yep.
Is that Sarah Stock in that picture?
Which one?
The one where she's on. Well, it's your freaking stream, dude.
Well, which one? Which one?
The blonde chick sitting there with her boobs sticking out.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah.
No, that's not Sarah Stock.
Who is that?
This is Sarah Stock.
Okay, and that other one is what?
I can't remember her name right off the top of my head. I really
She's
don't
that
care.
that Spanish chick, right?
No. This is the Spanish chick. This is Isabella De Luca.
Okay, so who's that one right there? Because we got to get names, man. Like, that's the hottest one out of all of them.
I can't remember. Sorry.
I swear, dude. Seriously. How are we?
Well,
How are we ever going to compete with fish and fresh and fish,
fresh and fish. Fresh fish.
for fresh and fit? Sorry, did I say that wrong?
Mm.
Oh,
It's fresh and fit.
oh, okay. Oh, and fresh and fit. Let me tell you something, okay? They lose their monetization on YouTube, whatever, dude. Like it's insane how much recognition they're getting on Rumble, dude. I'm so sick of every time I go on Rumble, I see their freaking preview on the thing every single time. Okay,
Oh, they're doing just fine,
yeah,
man.
they
They are.
aren't gonna lose nothing at all.
Yeah, they're doing just fine. Yeah, I'm trying to find the name of this chick. I can't remember what the fuck her name is. Sorry.
Don't worry about it, man. I was just messing with
Yeah.
you. But
Yeah. Okay.
I could probably do a search for you because I'm real good at.
She's definitely not the hottest.
Well, yeah.
Oh no, Isabella De Luca definitely has got, at least in my mind, as has got her beat for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yep.
Well,
So let's get.
it could be just that I can see her boobs. Cleavage just right there.
Maybe that's probably what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally what it is. This is Roger we're talking about. Remember?
Yeah.
Just
Right.
remember
Yeah.
with photos like this, just skip all the other search engines and go straight to Yandex. Just letting you know, dude, that's where all the information is. And that is Isabella De Luca.
Oh, the one in the blue bathing suit is definitely Isabella De Luca.
No, this one is her too. I just found
It
it.
is?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah. She got her stuff.
Okay.
She got her stuff put together. You want me to tell you an Italian joke?
No, I don't want to hear an Italian joke.
Okay. Oh wait, she's Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. I don't care. She's got a hot body. Isabella De Luca actually got criminally charged at J6 too. It came late because somebody took a table out of one of the buildings and they placed it down in front of Isabella De Luca, and Isabella De Luca put her hand on it, and that qualified as theft.
Oh,
They were
wow.
actually going to charge her with theft. It got thrown out once Trump took office, obviously, but it was like, yeah, there's another group of people that are gonna be facing the music at some point. The assholes who came up with all of these bogus charges against people just for standing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another group of people that are going to be facing some music here fairly soon, I'm having to imagine. Anyway, let's move on to topic number 6 here, which is oh yeah, this is the second Canada content one. This one involves, and by the way, they were saying this during COVID, that they would eventually start imposing restrictions on your movement over environmental purposes. And this people were thinking about, they were probably thinking more in terms of electric vehicles. Well, currently, New Brunswick and Nova Scotia are in the midst of dealing with some really nasty wildfires. Now, what the premier of New Brunswick has done is that he has banned all outdoor hiking and activities except in public campgrounds. Like, you can't go out hiking in the woods right now. Now, here's the really suspicious thing. Like all of these wildfires that occurred, like the one that was in BC and the ones that were in Alberta and the ones that were in northern Quebec and whatnot, all of these wildfires had some very suspicious activity around them. Oh, by the way, the photo you're seeing right now, that is the photo of wildfire smoke over the city of Fredericton. That's what you're looking at right at the moment. So they imposed this and they gave one guy, and I ain't kidding you. They gave this guy a $28,000 fine because he entered the woods and publicly announced that he was going to do it. Right outside of the area where the headquarters of the enforcement agency for this hiking ban is actually in place. Naturally, of course, I suspect he's going to fight it. But I mean, it was said during the COVID, during the COVID, and it's particularly during the trucker convoy, that that there was going to be a government in Canada at some point that was going to attempt to restrict movement based on environmental issues, and that is exactly what's happened. Now, here's the really weird part about this, and this is something that first came to people's attention during the Hawaii wildfires, but it also happened during the BC wildfires, and it also happened when they had the wildfires here in Alberta. Is that there was an unusually high degree of law enforcement and security that would not allow anybody to go in, and like they would not allow any independent investigators to go in and look at these wildfires and to investigate them, right? Like the police, like literally in BC, in central BC, when they had these wildfires that at one point almost isolated the town of Williams Lake, which is actually not that far away from where I grew up. You could not get in your car and drive into the immediate, like for instance, it wouldn't have been a safe thing to drive right into the area where the wildfire was, but you could not go into the area where you could not drive in there. If you wanted to sneak in there, you had to actually go in and you had to basically park your car somewhere discreetly and then sneak in if you wanted to do it. And I'm guessing after having wildfires like this start under suspicious circumstances, and because of the way that certain agencies have been acting around wildfires, including the one up in Jasper last year, this hiking ban also has the rather strange and convenient addition of preventing independent investigators from getting backpacks and electronic equipment and camera in and sneaking into these areas where these wildfires are without risking jail times or serious fines for doing so. And if they came out with footage, they would get seriously fined or risk jail time and criminal charges for doing so. So if these wildfires, and this is, by the way, I'm just talking hypothetical here, if these wildfires had started under very suspicious circumstances, the only people who would be allowed to go in and investigate right now would be the government. That particular thought has definitely crossed my mind, right? That this hiking ban isn't just because they want to protect the public or they don't want to deal with any more wildfires. I have a very sneaking suspicion that this may also be because they don't want any independent investigators going in there and finding something that they don't want discovered. And I can't just kind of go, oh, well, that's just ridiculous conspiracy theory, because it doesn't look like ridiculous conspiracy theory to me. It looks like something based upon the pattern of previous wildfires over the past 2 or 3 years that I cannot just dismiss out of hand. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sonia.
I did not fall asleep. Jeez.
I mean, I'm
Uh,
sorry. He always keeps wanting to talk about Canada and shit like it's important. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
apologize about all that.
Well, yeah, we've all
Well,
heard
I
enough.
live in Canada. What do you
I know.
expect?
I know. Right. Right.
I keep telling him that, like, dude, that's no excuse.
That does make a difference, I think, though. So yeah, it's kind of the same deal as with the last political type of topic, um, where it's kind of just a stage, right? To sway the masses to get them to do one thing or another, you know, every little bit. Roger.
Well, I mean, for me, I've got to go there. You know what I mean? I've got to freaking bring in the conspiracy theory when it comes to this topic, because I've mentioned it before. Like, there are mysterious disappearances that take place in Canada all the time, there and in Alaska. And people just seem to turn a blind eye to all that shit in Canada. It seems like nobody wants to fess up to the fact that people are disappearing all the time. Okay? And now they don't
And
want
that's
you.
why you need to buy tinfoil hats or us so that the aliens will stop making people disappear. Continue.
Now I can understand maybe there's like cannibals coming down out of the Yukon and eating humans or something like
Wow.
that. You know what I mean? But
Very dramatic.
well, I mean, it's a lot of them. There's like entire schools that have gone disappeared.
What?
Yes, in Canada. As a matter of fact, Naroki lived close to one of the areas where it actually
Oh,
took
yeah,
place.
Prince George, the Highway of Tears. People disappear on that road all the time.
Hmm.
Wow.
You
Is
know,
it like the Bermuda Triangle or?
Well, it's that particular road in British Columbia between basically you get west of Jasper and you drive down the Yellowhead, and the Yellowhead runs all the way to Prince Rupert on the west coast. Now, with the exception of a couple, like, well, Prince George has got like, there's a couple of 100,000 people in the immediate Prince George area. But once you get outside of the Prince George area, and you start driving, I mean, basically there's these small towns. There's Vanderhoof, and then there's Houston. Yeah, there's a town called Houston in British Columbia. And there's a nice place called Smithers, which I wouldn't mind living in. And there's also a town called there's Terrace, and there's Prince Rupert, and there's also Kitimat. There's a few places here. I'm going to post up Isabella DeLuca because I need to keep Roger excited and motivated here. So here you go, Roger.
I like the other one better.
I like this one better.
Uh,
So yeah, but I mean that there's basically it's the Yellowhead. It's known as the Highway of Tears, and you can you get a mile off of that road in any direction, and it's nothing but wilderness. And there's whole sections of road along that road where it's like you can drive for like 45 minutes an hour, and there's nothing alongside the roads at all. I remember one time as a kid, our car that we were riding in, it actually developed problems. Fortunately for us, when it did, we were only about a half a mile away from a town. But I mean, there's places, if you have a problem with your car in that part of the world, you could be an hour plus away from getting any help. Like it's that isolated, you know.
Mhm.
The drive, for instance, between McBride and Prince George, which I have done more than a few times, um, very, very, very rugged, very isolated. There's lots of places that you can. There, although for some strange reason, people don't disappear along that particular road as much as they do between Prince George and Prince Rupert. But there's a lot of weird, strange individuals that live in that neighborhood. To give you an idea of how isolated that part of the world is, I was a kid, and there's a town west of Jasper known as McBride. There's another town known as Valemont. McBride didn't have any television of any kind. I remember because I went there when I was 8 or 9 years old, and they literally still didn't have television signal there. I remember one year I went, there's a friend of my sister's. I went there, they had no television. And then I went back about a year later, and they had just gotten television in this area. And that was the late 70s. Like, it's so isolated, that part that there, all of Alaska got television before this part of BC did. That's how isolated it is. So yeah, there's a lot of places in Canada where you can disappear. There's lots of places in Canada where, and this is something that my brother's told me about because he's involved in the timber industry. One of the big signs they could tell if a fire was started artificially is that if it's within 50 to 100 meters of a road, it was likely started via arson. And here's the other thing: the way the fires started at one point in Alberta is that they literally all started within a very short period of time. And the federal government tried to blame all of these fires on climate change, and they also tried to use these wildfires to smear she's still the premier now, Danielle Smith.
Jeez.
Until Danielle Smith went out and had she had to send out Alberta forestry investigators because the Forestry Canada investigators would not have done a good job. She had to actually send out independent investigators to investigate these fires, and they were the ones that discovered like 90% of these fires have been started by people.
That's just bad governance.
Yeah, well, that's the way that was when Trudeau was prime minister when that happened. So there was a very real possibility that somebody within the Canadian government set these wildfires on purpose just to smear Danielle Smith, right? So I mean, what's happening there with the hiking restriction is to a certain. I mean, I can't help but think that that's being done because they don't want independent investigators going in, because when independent investigators go in, they start finding out stuff like, well, why did you turn off all of the water pumps out in this one town while the fire was going there? Like, why wasn't the water still running? Why is it in La Jolla that all of the blue cars didn't catch fire? All of the blue items in La Jolla didn't catch fire. Like, why is it that everything else caught fire except those items? And that just happens to be the color that's resistant to a certain experimental laser that they have. Oh, and maybe you would perhaps like to explain why all of the land that got burnt got bought up by billionaires after the fact.
Right.
Yeah. For instance, and again with this thing with Alberta, like, isn't it rather strange that they would set all these fires, especially the one that was in Jasper, and then try to blame Smith for it? Except, of course, that when they sent in independent investigators, it wasn't global warming. These fires were set on purpose. So again, right, every time they try to use the wildfires to push a environmental agenda or a political agenda, they get shot down. The hiking ban very conveniently weaponize it takes away the ability of independent investigators to go in there and take a look around and see what the hell is going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't just dismiss that out of hand. And the fact that this guy got such a steep fine, well, I mean, keep in mind he did it on purpose, so maybe they just added some stuff on with him. But the reason they gave him such a steep fine is that they want people to publicly see that they were going to get these $28,000 fines, so that it will discourage
Mm-hmm.
independent investigation of these said fires, right? Like if this becomes an established pattern
Mm-hmm.
in Canada or even in the US, where they start banning hikers in areas immediately during and after these fires take place, that is something that people should be looking at and going,
Right. Yeah. Why did they do that? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, I've been hearing a lot of talk about the blue thing. They've been saying that now for about, what, 3, 4 years? This mysterious uh, blue thing. Like, you'll see people in the Oriental paint their rooftops blue,
Mm-hmm.
and Nancy always hints around about that too. She always talks about the blue roofs, and if you look at
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of these catastrophes that supposedly are happening, these houses with blue roofs aren't being damaged, but the rest of the houses are. So it's
Right.
interesting.
Exactly.
It's really interesting, you know. I haven't had too much time to dive into that part of the weird stuff, you know what I mean? But
It has to do with frequencies, apparently. Like the certain colors have certain frequencies,
well, I mean,
So, it's on the dial. They just set their little dial for stuff like that.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Oprah Winfrey has this big, huge compound right close to where La Haya took place.
Mm-hmm.
And like the one in BC, for instance, because my brother lives in an area that was hit that was very close to where these fires were taking place, right? And I didn't specifically ask him about law enforcement, but independent investigators were having a very difficult time in BC trying to get people in to look at these fires, right? To independently look at what was going on with these fires and to look at what was going on, right? And it's like again, and it was like what happened last year, like a year or two ago with Daniel Smith and the fires here, right? Like these fires were intentionally started, and they did, and the federal government, and Trudeau was the prime minister at that time, but Trudeau used those fires in an attempt to smear Danielle Smith. So yeah, they're willing. We've demonstrated that I mean, if they're willing to kill to cover up stuff, right? Like just like how, and I did remember this because I was listening to Macroaggressions about how that one German reporter was looking at this money laundering operation in Costa Rica until her car mysteriously blew up and now it's not being covered anymore, right? If they're willing to kill, and if they're, and also, I mean, there's something very suspicious happening with Child Protective Services in California, and a reporter that tried to investigate and a state representative that tried to investigate both ended up dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're willing to kill, they're certainly willing to set fire to large swaths of forest and use that as a political tool.
Right. Mm-hmm. Sadly.
It's like I said, man, I'll go there. You know, I turn around and I start talking the or the conspiracy, and bam, the rookie's out there. He's telling it the way he really mean. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I bring out the best in that dude. Like
Right.
he was gonna hold out and not say any of that. until I said
Right.
something about the conspiracy.
It was the gimp suited aliens that started it. That's my story.
but you
That's my story, and the only
you
evidence I'm going to produce to you is Isabella DeLuca in that blue bathing suit. There you go. I'm completely right, and you're completely wrong.
well, just you tell me now
Oh
that
boy.
there is no way that there isn't some bit of conspiracy in that whole thing that's taking place in Canada. I mean, all of it. And this whole fire. Every time you bring up the fire thing, I always talk about the cannibal Canadians that are eating their children. And there's a reason why I do that, and it's because all of that stuff is weird shit.
Yep.
And
Pretty weird.
it's been going on in Canada for quite a long time, dude. For a long time. This isn't something that's just started like back in the freaking 70s or the 80s. I mean, this shit goes back. When they were freaking like trying to freaking settle those regions, man. People were freaking just disappearing.
Oh, dude, I know about the Nahanni Valley and the beheadings. I know a lot there. I know a lot of stuff, right? It's
Hmm.
there's when I was in my teens, there was apparently a murder cult. And nobody wanted to admit this, but there was a murder like in the town that I was living in. It was suspected that there was a murder cult there. They never caught anybody, or at least I haven't heard of them caught anybody, but there was a rumor floating around that was going on. Well, for instance, I will bring up a more famous individual that I know that you've all heard of, Robert Picton.
Yeah.
There were women disappearing from the downtown east side of Vancouver as far back as the early 80s. And I was pointed out at one point that if this, because they were disappearing from the downtown east side, and it had been relatively pointed out if these had been women that had been disappeared, if these if women from North Vancouver or West Vancouver or Kitsilano or the west side of Vancouver that had been disappearing at this rate, there would have been an immediate investigation of it. By the way, West Vancouver is the functional equivalent of Beverly Hills for the lower mainland. Very, very upscale. Like it's actually the richest. Actually, it is the richest neighborhood in all of Canada. Like it's got mansions all over. Like if you've ever been to Vancouver and you look up and you see all of those houses built up on the mountainside there, most of those are mansions. Yeah, there's a if it had been women from that part of the lower mainland disappearing at the rate that the women in on the downtown east side had been disappearing, like they would have been immediately right on top of it. And here's the situation. Uh, you know, the only reason that Picton it took 15 and there was I've gotten into this with Jaffe. Um, there was a guy by the name of Kim Rosmo at one point who he invented this system called geographic profiling, a computer system, and he was pretty much on the nose in saying that this is probably a person that just goes into the downtown east side but doesn't live there because he got the resources. And there was all sorts of weird shit going on around Piggy Palace. I don't really want to get too much into it because we did a fairly extensive story on Robert Picton right after he got killed and the strange connection with Justin Trudeau and his attending Piggy Palace, and about how law enforcement noticeably dragged their ass when they were investigating it. You know, same thing here, right? Again, you have a situation where you have with these wildfires, you have a very strange situation where the authorities are doing whatever they can legally and sometimes not legally to prevent independent investigators from going in and looking at these fires to see what the hell's going on, right? and it's been an ongoing pattern in Canada. And I suspect a lot of what has been the reason what's happening so much more in Canada than it is in the US is because there's so much more wilderness up in Canada than there is in the US. Like if you're going to, for instance, state one of the big cultural differences between Canada and the United States is that Canada is much more heavily urbanized. Like the majority of the population of Canada, like you take the three biggest cities in Canada, which are Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, and you add all up that population up together, you have 30% of 5, 4, 9, 12. Yeah, you have 20 to 25% of the Canada's population in those three biggest cities. You take the three biggest cities in the US and you add their population together, you have maybe got 2, 3%, maybe 5% of the population. Like Canada is much more heavily urbanized, so it's a lot easier to get away with crimes like this in Canada because there's just so much more empty space. And like what Roger said at one point, there's lots of places to hide a body in Canada.
Yeah.
There is.
And don't tell a Democrat what you just said. They won't agree with you. They think that freaking like 3/4 of freaking country lives in cities. Actually,
No.
anybody who freaking is really big into politics down here seems to have this idea like freaking it's cool to live in cities, and that freaking if you suggest that they move to smaller towns, it's a bad thing. I'm like, dude, you're an idiot. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh no, there's there's a much bigger rural presence. There's a lot more people living out on the countryside in the United States than there is in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that a lot of that has to do with the colder weather we've got up here. And also there's large swaths of Canadian wilderness where it is not even easy to build a road, much less a town. Like take for instance, British Columbia is it looks very nice, it looks very pretty, but a lot of it is just these big hills with forests on them, and there's not actually a lot of places in BC where you can actually build towns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks really nice, it looks really pretty, but there's not a lot of places you can build towns in BC, right? Most of it's not conductive to building. Like the human population has to live in these very specific locations.
Now, see, I would love to live in a place like Canada because from what I've seen of it, it's beautiful. The only thing that why I wouldn't do it is simply because of the cold weather. I hate cold weather.
Well, again, the Okanagan the Okanagan still gets winter, but it's not a particularly bad winter. Where
Mhm.
I live, yeah, it can get nasty. Like it can get nasty in Edmonton, and it can stay nasty. Like I've had a winter up here. Actually, I had one in Banff too when I was living in Banff. Very nice, very pretty. Most of the time, the winters aren't too bad, but I had one winter when I was living in Banff where it dropped below 30. It went to 30 below, and it stayed that way for like 6 weeks. It was so cold at what this is like the winter of 95, 96. It was so cold in Banff that winter that it got to the point where it was like 20 below, and I forgot my toque one night, and I walked home, and 20 below didn't even bother me anymore. Like you actually get accustomed to it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, back to Gina Carrera's body measurements.
Okay, well, are we done? Are we done with topic? Yeah, I think we're done with 6. We have to go to 7 here. Hold on a second. Just let me look at the time.
She kind of reminds me of what's her face, Xena Warrior Princess. Whenever you see,
Well, she's built like her. By the
Mhm.
way, Xena got her acting training from a school in Vancouver.
Love Xena.
yeah, I lo-
Yeah, Xena. She actually got her start in most of her early acting roles. Xena, I can't remember, Lucy Lawless.
yeah,
She got her formal acting training in Vancouver. Most of her, in fact, a lot of her early television appearances were in Vancouver. Just an FYI on that.
cool.
Anyway, let's move on to the next. Next topic and the last topic of the night. I didn't think the thing with the forest fires would actually get into that deep of a conversation, but apparently it did.
Well, it's been brewing. You know, you keep avoiding it, like you trying to justify everything at the end, like this and that. You know what's happening, dude. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the forest fires thing. It's like, pardon the term, but where there's smoke, there's fire. You're seeing
Mhm.
the same consistent pattern going on there every
Yeah.
single time, right? Like you are, right? Cover ups, interference with independent investigators, politicizing of the issue, right? You keep seeing that every single time with every single wildfire, which was not happening 10 years ago.
hmm
And you have to start going,
Something's wrong.
you know what? Yep. So anyway, let's move on to the next topic here. I have to once again I have to restate.
You started scaring yourself is why you started backstepping, because I noticed you were getting kind of scared whenever you were talking. And
Yeah. Okay.
you get
Well,
scared over
anyway,
stuff like that.
let's just get into the last. Let's get into the last topic here.
That was pretty spooky.
That was all right, and this one has to do with the Texas Democrats. And again, right? Don't live in Texas. This is the second time now that this has happened where Texas Democrats have left the state to protest something. What is going on here? And this is apparently they're gonna be doing this in some of the other big red states too. Is that they're redistricting or they're realigning the not only the state seats but the federal seats as well to allow the Republicans to get more seats. And of course, this is pissing off the Democrats in some of the blue states. It's like, and they're like, "You're gonna love this." The governor of Massachusetts and the governor of California literally threatened Texas that they were going to do the same thing, and they were going to gerrymander the seats in their state, just like Texas was doing. The only thing is, though, is that they've already done it.
Mhm.
So they can't really do it anymore. Pritzker was sheltering some of these Democrats, but here's the thing, right? When George Soros gets involved in this, and he kind of worked in concert with Beto O'Rourke, and they set up a fund which allowed the Democrats to stay away longer than they should have using funds. And what ended up happening is that the governor of Texas actually challenged what Beto O'Rourke was doing, because it reeks basically allowing people to not vote is election fraud too. And Beto O'Rourke, and it's suspected that George Soros was involved in this, had started up a GoFundMe and a collective fund to allow the Democrats to stay away. Because the Democrats had done this before, this time the governor was ready for it and moved a whole lot faster. And he, well, pardon the pun, he literally took their funding away. And of course, the media is only talking about the fact that Texas is doing this, never mind the fact that California and New York and Massachusetts and Illinois have all done the exact same thing. and nothing was said. And it's sort of like, well, you know what? If you're going to do that, then don't get pissed when the Republicans figure out what you're doing and do the same thing in their states, right? Like, what were you expecting? Is what it more or less comes down to. Um, Again, right? And this is the thing, because the mainstream media no longer has the control of the narrative to the degree that they used to. The mainstream media can't run block for them anymore, right? So what's going on here is that the this thing in Texas is not going to really work very well, because it's like they've already used it once before. This was back in 2021, and it's not really gonna work out very well for them. And that's really what it boils down to, is the fact that, I mean, it's like you can't keep they did it, and they did it in a way this time which exposed the fact that George Soros and Beto was using Beto O'Rourke and was using crowdfunding and trying to slip money in to try to prevent this, which kind of suggests to me that a certain faction out there is extremely concerned about the fact that they're starting to lose political power. Because if you look at the and I've looked at the political, again, the polls are not necessarily the best thing to be going by, but if you look at the polls, you know, the Republic, as it currently stands, the Republicans are going to gain a whole lot more seats in 2026, right? Like, the Democrat, there isn't going, like, you'll maybe hear them talking about a big blue wave, but there is no big blue wave coming this time. Like, the Democrats are looking at losing seats in both the House and the Senate in the midterms. So Trump's position, and I keep in mind, I got a very well. I mean, I'm not as negatively inclined towards Trump as, say, Roger is, but I mean, it's like, yeah, Trump will basically have a mandate in his last 2 years to pretty much do whatever the hell he wants, is what it's boiling down to. Because at least right now, the majority, both the House and the Senate, for the Republicans is a little bit on the thin side. That's not go as it currently stands right now. That is not going to be the case come 2026. And if the redistricting adds, and by the way, this is not just happening at the federal level, this is also happening at the state level, right? Yeah, it's gonna dig an even deeper hole for the globalists than the one they've already dug for themselves. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sonia.
Fantastic. That was great. Well, I just got a couple of things to say about that. I would not mind having a mandate myself at this particular point in time. And also, I just wonder how many times do you guys think that maybe the word Trump has been said in the past, even just year, you know?
Oh, they blame Trump for everything. Like, for instance, when I was covering those hockey players that were found not guilty for that sexual assault, which we were discussing on the last show, there were people on Twitter that were trying to tie Trump into that, and it was like, Trump has got nothing to do with that, right? Like, they try to, like, every single political issue they try to tie Trump into, and Trump looks at, from where I'm saying, Trump seems to be more of a laissez-faire, hands off, let the states fix themselves, as opposed to trying to manage everything himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm seeing from where I'm standing with Trump.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. Maybe I'm looking at it a little bit differently, of course, but like just literally, like, how many times the word Trump has been said by anybody in the world, like over even like the last year. Like just the word Trump has probably been said like a zillion times as opposed to any other words. Like maybe besides hello or something like that. But I'm just curious. These are the things I think about. So, yeah. And a mandate would also be very nice.
Okay, Roger, you're up.
Well, I personally say that uh this kind of proves my point on not Trump, because I'm not gonna be cruel, mean, and say horrible things about Trump this time, but about about the about politicians and politics. Um, when and particularly it, and I know everybody says this is like a Democrat kind of viewpoint, but I've agreed with this for quite a long time that we need to freaking get rid of the electorate voting system. We also need to abolish freaking political parties. And the reason for that is because this right here, what you're talking about, is like that's the bread and butter of corruption. And the
Mm-hmm.
Democrats, just to be fair, Democrats are the ones who do this the most. They did it in Illinois twice. Here in Illinois, what they do is if they don't like a vote and they know they can't win it, they'll freaking run off to Wisconsin. You know what I mean? So that while the voting's going on, it can't be finished because they're out of state.
Mm,
And
right.
that's what's taking place now in Texas. This is like the lowest form of corruption when it comes to this system, and it's not Donald Trump's fault. It's it's really not the Democrats or the Republicans' fault. It's the fact that we've set a freaking government up on a corrupt system. The whole reason why the electoral voting system came into being is because they when they changed over from the Articles of Confederation to the Constitution, they understood that freaking they made some mistakes. And one of the mistakes that they made was they freaking allowed everybody to vote according to the Article of Confederation, and you didn't have political parties. Now, when they turn around and they made that change, they created the electorate, which freaking made it to where it basically was a popularity contest. Okay, I go and I make a vote. If I vote independent, then I have an electorate who is an independent electorate voter who, if they win all of the votes or the most votes between the independent electorate, the Republican electorate, or the Democrat electorate, then they get to cast the vote for that state. Okay? And the same goes with the Democrats. If they freaking get more votes on the Democrat side than what the Republicans or the Independents do, then they get to cast their state's votes. Okay? So that's basically what it is. It's a popularity contest where they freaking have to compete with one another to get more votes than the other parties or the independent voters. And that right there is what is the big problem. And then it breaks down into voting areas. And they've learned how to manipulate the map so that freaking more Democrats are in this area or more Republicans are in this area, whichever party is in control. So they'll manipulate the maps according to the voting areas and shit like that. And it's very, very intricate. Okay, it's not something that they just do. You know what I mean? They've been planning on doing this stuff for quite a while before they decided to do it. And it's just a corrupt system, and people are getting tired of it. And what I'm saying, I guarantee you, here before long, we're going to have it to where each person goes to the voting booth and each vote actually matters. You know what I mean? Just because freaking the Democrats get all the votes, that doesn't mean that you take all the Republican voters' votes and just throw them away, which that's what they're doing now. You know what I mean? It's like whoever wins the contest gets the vote. That's bullshit. Um, but I see that happening very soon. People are getting tired of this shit. They're getting tired of their vote not counting, and that's what it is. Their votes just don't count if they don't win the freaking contest. That's all I got.
Yep.
I'm done. I
Okay, well, we're glad you're done too. By the way.
okay. Well, I mean, sexy women. If there were sexy women running for president, I would vote for them every time.
Oh! Does that mean that you would vote for AOC?
Who's AOC?
Alexandria Ocasio Cortez.
Is she hot?
Oh, you don't know who she is?
Oh
Well,
my.
no, I don't. Show me a
I don't
picture.
either.
Show me a picture.
You don't know who? She's a delusional Democrat. She's part of the squad.
Is she hotter than freaking Tulsi Gabbard?
Yes, she is hotter than Tulsi Gabbard. She's got a
Wow.
nice rack.
Wow.
She's got a nice rack and everything, but she's a fucking delusional, narcissistic fucking Democrat. And by the way, and this is something to be really fucking freaked out about. An actual, legit, serious contender for president.
Wow.
For the as them as a Democrat rep after Gavin Newsom, she would be the next one. She's like the second most. And yeah, just go take a look at some of her stuff, and you're like, oh my god.
How do you spell her name?
Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. It should be easy to find. I cannot believe you don't know who she is.
Well, I mean, if she's hot, we need to get that dude out of the way so that we can see her a lot more. What do you think about that? What is her name? Alexandria?
Alexandria Ocasio Cortez.
Ocasio Cortez. No, is that spelled?
You seriously, you have not heard of her.
Oh no, she's not as hot as freaking Tulsi Gabbard, dude.
Well, she's got a bit of an overbite. She's got a nice rack.
Well, let me see. I can't find. Well, I'm on Google, so that doesn't really help. Let me go ahead and get her real name and go to Bing where all the dirty stuff is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I mean, being honest, search engines do matter. Just so you guys know.
Sure they do. Absolutely.
If you want all the hot chicks, you go to freaking Bing because it's unfiltered. Just to let you know. And all the good porn's there too.
Oh my.
Oh no, She can't compete with Tulsi, dude. Now Tulsi, that was something I heard earlier. Like if you take a look at like the people that got screwed, like look at Tulsi Gabbard when she was trying to run for president. You want to talk about somebody getting screwed?
Well, here's the thing, and this is something that the Democrat, like the leftists, seem to be ignoring. Trump, Musk, Kennedy, Gabbard. Like there is like a fairly significant portion of the people on Trump's cabinet are ex-Democrats.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That just keeps getting ignored, and it's like oh, Trump's a fascist. Well, you realize that Trump used to be Trump used to be a hardcore Democrat supporter, right?
He used to support Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, it's like, yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Well, I mean, saying the ignorance of certain factions, right? Like I ran into this today. If you support Elon Musk, Jordan Peterson, or Andrew Tate, I won't date you. And it's like, okay, one, Musk is in no way connected to the fucking manosphere. Two, Peterson, and I have read his book, 12 Rules for Life. Those are actually good rules that apply to anybody. If you're saying that, you've obviously never looked at or read 12 Rules for Life, because yeah, it's a lot more male friendly, but the rules actually are not gender. Like, I mean, the rules that he put in that book work just as well for women as they do for men. Tate is he's well known, but the reason why Tate is well known is because, and I talked about this on the last show, right? He's large, he's flamboyant, he talks a good game, at least when he's doing his own stuff. But I mean, he drives around in Bugattis. He wears suits. He smokes cigars. He fucking acts like a big shot. And he's flashy and he's out there, which is very similar to what Milo Yiannopoulos was doing back about 7 or 8 years ago, right? And that makes him a very visible target. But if you actually stop and actually ask anybody in the manosphere about Andrew Tate, what you will find out is, and you may want to be sitting down for this, Andrew Tate is not even the biggest name in the manosphere, right? He's the most well-known name outside of the manosphere, but he's not the biggest name in the manosphere. The biggest name in the manosphere is actually the Whatever podcast at this point, right? In fact, you could make a very valid case that Andrew Tate is not even in the top 5. In fact, a lot of people in the manosphere are actually very hostile towards Andrew Tate. I really don't have an opinion on him one way or another, and his style and his content don't appeal to me, right? But I mean, and yeah, he is a big name, but he's not the biggest name in the manosphere. In fact, he's not even close to being the biggest name in the manosphere. And it's like this woman is like saying this, and it's like they said, well, thank you for saying this to me, because when you said this to me, you just basically demonstrated that you don't know fuck all about the manosphere. You don't know what you're talking about. You're getting all your fucking information from the magic screen in your fucking living room or from your friends, which is probably the worst place you should be getting them. And it's like, if you say that to me, you're doing me and you won't date me because I don't really follow Tate all that well. And I'm kind of like lukewarm on Elon Musk. I kind of have a little bit of respect for Peterson. But it's like, if you say that to me unironically, you're actually doing me a favor. Anyway,
I'm so glad that I didn't say nothing to trigger you, dude. Me and Sonia has been having this thing about the word trigger here lately.
Trigger. Yeah.
Trigger.
Anyway,
I found a good picture. I found a good picture for you. I posted it up in your team's thing for her. That's off of Fapomatic, I think it is.
Fapo Drop? You've been sending me a photo drop from Fapo Drop?
No, it was in Bing search, and I just copied the image.
Oh, that is not the best photo of her.
Dude, that is crazy. Do you see that? That's like a transparent shirt with her boobs just right there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That is crazy. I mean, how can... That's celebration. She's still not as hot as Tulsi, though.
I beg to disagree, but that's just me, right?
You're into his...
I would pick... if without knowing what they're like as people, if I had just met them on the street, I'd take Ocasio-Alexandra over Tulsi, but that's just because I'm a boob guy. So you know. But if I knowing what they're like as individuals, it would be Tulsi in like a cold second.
Well, I mean, both of them at the same time wouldn't be all that bad. Be kind of sexy.
Oh, those two would probably start fighting with each other.
That'd be good, dude.
Ew.
Big old pillow fight. Ew. What, you don't...
More hair whipping around.
You never had a pillow fight before, Sonia?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Back when you...
Not really like that, though, like what you guys are talking about, but,
okay.
We're talking about the same thing. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right. So go look her up. She's a complete Ocasio-Cortez. And just when you start finding out some stuff about her, just remember She is the alternative to Gavin Newsom.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Wow.
Anyway, I got this off of Instagram, but I had to share it here, and I really don't care if they block me on YouTube for posting.
Do you
it,
know
but here
someone
we
who
go.
suffers from Gen Z disorder? Emotional hypersensitivity, digital dependency, pronoun fatigue, or violent Wi-Fi withdrawal? Does their anxiety spike over emails? Do they confuse disagreement for violence?
We created Gen Ease, a fast-acting, non-hormonal tablet to restore functional cognition.
After Gen Ease, anxiety subsides, clarity returns, and offense stops pretending it's a virtue.
Side effects may include punctuality, sarcasm tolerance, emotional stability, and not acting like such a self-absorbed asshole.
Gen Ease, because acting like an offended little bitch gets a little fucking old.
And that is it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much. Unless anybody has any parting comments.
That was great.
Yeah, I'm gonna start posting. I'm gonna start posting up. I'm gonna start finding like shorts like this. I'm gonna post them up between each show. I really don't give a shit if YouTube doesn't allow me to upload this stuff, but I mean, it's like, yeah. Anyway, that is it for tonight, folks. We went almost 3 hours. Thank you for showing up. I will see you again. Well, again, I don't know what my. Oh, actually, yeah, I will be around next Sunday. Will I be around? I don't know. Depending upon the hours of the new job, I will let you know. If I'm available Sunday, then we'll do the show Sunday. But that is it for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Roger, I just need you to help me out with Twitch for a couple minutes before you hang it. But if Sonia, if you want to leave, you go ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it, folks. That's it, folks. That's all, folks. There we go. We're done. Okay, Roger. About Twitch. Now, how do I save this on the channel?
Now with Twitch, let me. I do have it on there. Let it. Now, are you on your settings?
I am literally looking at Twitch on my computer right now because I had it up.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, on your stream manager, it on the
Which is where?
right there on the left hand side, it says Home, Stream Manager, Alerts, Analytics.
Okay. Is that at the top or the bottom?
It's right there on the left hand side. It should be running down the side on the left hand side. Are you on your stream?
Okay.
Are you on your Stream Manager? Or
No, I'm actually on. I'm on my. Hold on a second here. Wait, stream summary. Would that be it?
No.
Creator dashboard.
Okay, on your dashboard, go down to find it where it says Home, and then it says Stream Manager.
Oh, there it is. Okay, got it.
Okay, now if you scroll down a little bit right there, you'll see an area that says content, monetization, and settings.
Content, monetization, and settings. Okay, I there's something that says content on it.
Okay.
And then there's settings?
Yeah, settings.
Okay, yeah, settings. Okay, got it.
Click on the settings, and then down where it says stream, I believe, you go to stream.
Okay, done.
Okay, now on that, in the middle of the screen, you'll see where it says freaking stream key and preferences. You see that?
Yep, got it. It's on the screen right now.
Okay, scroll down to VOD settings, VOD settings.
Okay.
And it says store past broadcast. It should be on.
All right, it's on now.
Okay. Now, if you want to enable clips, that's where it'll allow you to use clips too. You can do that, but you don't have to have it. And that's basically it.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's just redo since we're here. Let's just run through BitChute and
I,
Odyssey one more time.
now, BitChute, it was like I was telling you with that one. The best thing you can do with BitChute is use Rumble Studio and just do the stream key.
Okay, all right, go to Rumble Studio. Okay, by the way, I'm going to close the room here. All right.
Oh, that kind of messes up the whole. That is funny. You there?
Yep.
Okay. On a BitChute, the 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 the, the
Hello.
I just got a message from it kind of threw me off. Sonya is talking about why Jaffe can't use Rumble Studios, but yeah, I got a little distracted. On BitChute, I'm not too familiar with it, but on Odyssey, I'm familiar with that one. Now BitChute, last time I tried it, it was really, really bad. So, and I didn't use Rumble Studio at all. So, my best suggestion is you might get a better performance by using Rumble Studio with BitChute over OBS.
Okay, Rumble Studio. Okay, all right. So where do I go here? I'm on Rumble Studio. Here, maybe I can enable. Maybe I can enable the to share screen here.
Yeah.
Okay,
That would be the best way to do it.
there we go. There we are. Oh, wait, hold it. Wrong one.
Yeah.
Wrong one.
There you go.
Wrong one. Hold on a second here. Let me try another one.
It's like I said, I haven't really used BitChute too much in a long time. I'm actually getting comments on TLB Talk, dude.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, here we go. Rumble Studio. I'm on Rumble Studio. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so where do I go here to add BitChute?
Okay, so you go down to the little motor wheel thing over here. You go to manage destination. Okay, now down at the bottom, right there where it says BitChute, click on those three lines right there. Those three little dots. And edit RTMP. Now go over to BitChute. Open your link or a tab. Go to BitChute and add.
I've done it.
Okay, now add in the RTMP URL and the stream key.
That would be under Go Live, right?
Right.
Stream key. Okay, so I would take the stream key from Rumble Studio.
No, from BitChute and put it in Rumble Studio right there.
Okay, so where do I get the stream key from then?
That's one thing. I do not know exactly where that would be. Screen share BitChute instead of Rumble, real quick.
Okay, hold on.